Chapter 856. Qin Yan Fei's inexplicable anger confused Yi Qinghan. Zixin and Dong Qin were even more surprised. This woman was too much of a busybody. They didn't even feel wronged, so why would she feel wronged? Qin Yan Fei even shifted everyone's attention to Yi Qinghan. The men were envious of Yi Qinghan's luck with women. Many female cultivators looked at Yi Qinghan with disdain. They couldn't understand why 3 women who were prettier than them would bother this trash. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. He didn't even have the strength to argue. He wanted nothing more than to lie on the 3 women's shoulders. Seeing Qin Yan Fei's disdainful gaze, he simply hugged the 3 women and said provocatively, "This seat is like this. Now that I lack a mount, are you willing to apply? This lady will kill you." Qin Yan Fei didn't expect Yi Qinghan to tease her instead. Of all the things he said, he actually said that he lacked a mount and wanted her to be his mount. She couldn't bear it anymore and directly drew her sword and charged towards Yi Qinghan. Emperor Ye's figure flashed and pulled out the star saber from his back. The sound of the saber was deafening. The saber aura scared the master gods so much that they quickly retreated, let alone a junior like Qin Yan Fei. Qin Yan Fei's neck was held by the wild saber. She broke out in cold sweat. Before she could pull out her sword, she was rooted to the ground and didn't even dare to breathe. "Fellow Taoist, please be merciful. Little junior sister has never traveled before and is still young. Fellow Taoists, please don't be calculative with her." Shuel Yang was shocked and looked at the saber in Emperor Ye's hand in shock. The saber light was so bright that no one dared to look at it directly. Only then did he know that this group of people were not simple. Emperor Yi coldly looked at Qin Yan Fei and said in a low voice, "Little friend, don't speak nonsense. Master's dignity is not something you can blaspheme." Gulp. Emperor Ye's words caused Qin Yan Fei to swallow a mouthful of saliva. Her throat was so cold that it almost caused her to faint on the spot. Emperor Yi withdrew his star saber and retreated back to Yi Qinghan. At this moment, no one dared to make a ruckus. Qin Yan Fei looked at Emperor Yi in horror. She could not understand how a silk pants like Yi Qinghan could have such an exaggerated disciple. "Junior sister, come back," Shuel Yang reprimanded. "Little girl, trouble comes from the mouth. Didn't your master teach you that?" Yi Qinghan asked calmly. Although Qin Yan Fei was quite frightened, she still looked down on Yi Qinghan. With a cold snort, she turned around and ran behind Shuel Yang. Her entire body trembled as she did not dare to look directly at Emperor Yi. Zhuxian Lu's eyes flashed as he stared at the blade in Emperor Ye's hand. His greed was self-evident, but he forced himself to suppress it. Qing Wanli, on the other hand, did not want to hold back. For beauties in this blade, he wanted them all. However, Sword God Dugu was watching from afar, so Qing Wanli did not dare to act recklessly. Sword God Dugu was alone and did not have any friends. If he were to offend him, Sword God Dugu would probably wreak havoc on Ghost Splitter Island. Many unfamiliar master gods had strong thoughts about the blade in Emperor Ye's hand, but they did not say anything. Once the bartering session started, they would probably come looking for the 4 of them one after another. At this moment, Long Zai still could not find any crucial clues. He slowly retreated to Yi Qinghan's side and said softly, "Miss Zixin, can you see if you can trace back to the origin through these strange scenes?" Zixin shook her head without hesitation and said helplessly, "I'm sorry, but I can't do it. Things happened 10,000 years ago, and the limit of what I can trace back is only a few hundred years. There's no need to trace back to the origin. Do you know where the entrance to the underground is?" Yi Qinghan asked softly. "What entrance? What underground?" Long Zai asked with a frown. "Look at the churning blood soil. It comes from the underground. According to the profound mysteries of the earth origin, it is impossible for the stable soil of the upper plane to churn at will. But here, it churns every season. This can only mean one thing: the soil of the upper plane is unstable. There is only one reason for this instability in the upper plane: there is a very large hole below. The reason why such a scene did not occur before is because there is no water in the underground space, so it is impossible for the soil above to change. Yi Qinghan thought for a moment and said, "This place used to be called Flower Sea City. There are probably many seeds scattered in the depth. There are also some roots that were nourished by the blood water and eventually mutated into blood flowers. Every spring, they will bloom and wither in the summer. This kind of strange flower is not common, but it is not surprising." With a simple observation, Yi Qinghan was able to deduce the reason for the formation of the blood flower sea. He was even able to deduce the existence of the underground space. Long Zai was stunned. He had searched here for thousands of years without finding any clues, but Yi Qinghan was able to deduce it just by looking. If it was true, then he was simply a god. It was not that there were no earth gods here, but who would think of this? Most of the time they were just curious. "I really didn't know that there was a space here, nor did I know of the entrance. We never tell women about our clan's affairs. This city has been passed down in our long family for many generations. My parents never mentioned that there was another space beneath the city." Long Zai frowned as he tried hard to recall, but he had no recollection of such a thing. Was the city lord's manor located at the Dragon Gate in back then? Yi Qinghan asked curiously. Long Zai's pupils constricted as he asked in surprise, "Who told you that? How did you know?" Yi Qinghan rolled his eyes and grunted, "I'm not an idiot. Which building within 1,000 miles can withstand the ravages of the monsoon? Apart from the few buildings nearby, if they weren't the city lord's manor back then, what better choice is there?" Long Zai was speechless, and could only nod in agreement. "Let's return to the inn. The entrance should be there," Yi Qinghan said indifferently. "Impossible. I've searched that place countless times. It's impossible for there to be an entrance," Long Zai replied with certainty. "Intelligence determines everything. No matter how high one's cultivation is, a woman is only suitable for giving birth." Yi Qinghan shrugged and said disdainfully. Bang! Zixien and Dong Qin threw him hard and stomped him under their feet. At this moment, even Emperor Yi felt that he deserved it. Yi Qinghan's face was distorted from the fall, and his heart almost stopped beating. Everyone turned to look at him, and couldn't help but gloat and laugh loudly. Qin Yanfei was laughing so hard that she was convulsing, and tears were coming out of her eyes. Yi Qinghan covered his face. He felt that his waist was about to be broken by Zixien and Dong Qin's stomp, and tears almost fell from his eyes. "Are the two of you women?" "I'm not talking about the two of you," Yi Qinghan angrily explained. It would have been better if he didn't explain, but once he did, the two were even more enraged. "Are you blind? How are we not women? Take a closer look and see if you're blind." Dong Qin stomped hard and broke one of Yi Qinghan's ribs. She finally got her revenge for the beating she got from that day. Stop. Let go," Yi Qinghan screamed. He wasn't going easy on them, but he really couldn't resist. "I realized that not only are you blind, you're also a retard." Zixien coldly snorted and turned to walk towards the inn. Dong Qin and Long Zai groaned and walked past Yi Qinghan. Only Emperor Yi leaned over to support him, and said emotionally, "Son, you're still the best. You're so feminine. These three women were born in the wrong body." "Master, why do I feel like your intelligence is dropping?" Emperor Yi helplessly asked. How could he say those words in front of everyone? Moreover, he said it in front of four beauties, and the explanation after that was even worse. When Yi Qinghan heard Emperor Ye's words, he was instantly at a loss for words. Chapter 857. When Yi Qinghan was bullied, Qin Yanfei immediately rejoiced in his misfortune. She ran in front of him and stuck out her pink tongue. She made a funny face and mocked, "Trash, they finally saw your true colors. Just you wait." Yi Qinghan's stomach full of anger turned into a slap and fiercely slapped Qin Yan Fei's butt. The crisp sound reverberated in the air like a clap of thunder. Qin Yan Fei did not dodge and felt a burning pain on her butt. She jumped 3 feet into the air, and before she landed, Yi Qinghan had already left. Emperor Yi shook his head. This little woman was indeed asking for a beating. She would not learn if she did not beat her. When Qin Yan Fei landed on the ground, her face was purple and her body was trembling with anger. She clenched her teeth and pulled out her sword to rush over and hack Yi Qinghan to death. However, her senior brother's figure flashed and held down her sword-wielding hand. He shook his head and said, "Don't provoke him. He is not a silk pants, nor is he a trash. Otherwise, you would not have been unable to dodge. If it was me, I might not have been able to dodge that slap. How can a trash do that?" Qin Yan Fei was so angry that tears were about to burst out. She immediately trembled and angrily roared, "Senior brother? He hit me, hit my butt. Go and take revenge for me. Alright, be good. Otherwise, don't expect me to bring you out next time." Shuel Yang smiled bitterly. It was really hard for him to serve such a rich princess. Qin Yan Fei's cultivation was not bad, but she was too young and did not have any experience. She could not tell right from wrong and only dealt with things according to what she thought was right or wrong. If not for Shuel Yang, this old fox, following her, the 6 Gods Dao sect would not have allowed her to come out to train. I knew you couldn't do it. I'll go and find senior brother Zhua." Qin Yan Fei was not satisfied. She turned and ran towards Zhuxian Lu while crying. Zhuxian Lu was also frightened by Yi Qinghan's slap. The speed was too fast and the angle was too strange. It should not be as bad as it looked. However, the way he walked was really weak, as if he had been too much. It was hard to grasp. "Junior sister, don't be anxious. I will beat him up later. You can take revenge however you want." How could he refuse a beauty's request? Zhuxian Lu was filled with heroism as he readily agreed. Only then did Qin Yan Fei calm down. She looked at the direction Yi Qinghan left in anger. Inside the inn, the 5 of them were patrolling left and right, but the inn was so small that they could see everything at a glance. There were only a few places that were connected to the underground, and Long Zai had already searched through all of them. "You have a high IQ, so why don't you create a tunnel?" Long Zai snorted. Yi Qinghan shrugged and closed his eyes. His sea of consciousness replayed the memories of what had happened in the Great Hall of Flower Sea City. He didn't know, but when he fused with Long Zai's soul last night, she knew. At the center of the hall was the main hall of the Dragon Gate Inn. Based on Long Zai's memories, Yi Qinghan arrived before a table and chair. He opened his eyes and reached out to uproot the metal table that was connected to the ground. He lightly stomped his foot and raised his eyebrows. His voice was very thick, but there was no response. "The mechanism should be here, but unfortunately, the mechanism to open the tunnel has been destroyed. It will be very difficult to find the foundation of the mechanism," Yi Qinghan said indifferently. "I'll listen to your bragging." Long Zai sneered. Yi Qinghan glanced at her and said in a low voice, "The foundation of Flower Sea City is completely filled with molten iron. It has already become one with the ground. There is no other way to enter the underground space other than through the secret tunnel. Flower Sea City should have originally been a bottomless land. In the end, the Long family used divine iron to fill it up, forming a huge underground space. Then, they used soil to cover it up and built a great city above it. As time passed, the underground space was only passed down from generation to generation. No one else knew about it. However, the fact that the blood could seep in means that there are other entrances." Yi Qinghan turned around and walked out of the inn. He flew into the air and looked down at the sea of flowers. He deduced the scene of the massacre back then. The place where the blood gathered should be an even lower depression. After eliminating all other places, there was only one place that fit the description. A lake in Flower Sea City had already dried up. Now there was also a sea of flowers above it, but this one was even darker in color. It was so red that it made people shiver. Yi Qinghan appeared in this sea of flowers and used the earth origin to explore downwards. He found that only a small part of it was made of iron. Moreover, in the depths it was at most 3 meters thick. Below that was an empty space. It's here. It's only 3 meters thick divine iron. It's easy to penetrate. Moreover, there are cracks in it, Yi Qinghan said to himself. No one paid attention to Yi Qinghan's random movements. However, the Dugu sword god had seen countless people and knew that he was a treacherous person. He wouldn't do anything for nothing, so he kept his eyes on him. Yi Qinghan returned to the inn and said to Long Zai and the others, I've found the entrance. It's at the bottom of the sea of flowers. Help me attract attention. I'll take my son down there to take a look. Leave it to me. Long Zai's eyes lit up. Could it be that there was something he hadn't discovered? They waited until nighttime when the monsoon stopped. Yi Qinghan brought Emperor Yi out of the red night and found that there was a sea of people nearby. 99% of the people were outside setting up tents. There were both men and women, and most of them were here to admire the sea of flowers. It was at this moment that Long Zai walked out of the inn. Behind him stood old Three Ting and old Tu Ma. Zixin and Dong Qin also followed. He let out a low whistle and attracted everyone's attention. Everyone, you've seen the sea of flowers today. Tomorrow we'll start a trade fair. Everyone will trade things for things you don't need. I hope everyone will participate enthusiastically. As the host, Long Zai naturally had to stop it for everyone. However, I must remind everyone that you must not force people to buy or sell. This rule has been in place for nearly 10,000 years, and no one has bullied the people within 10,000 miles. I hope everyone will have a good demeanor and don't throw away the face of the clan and sect behind you. If anyone breaks the rules or crosses my bottom line, then don't blame me for being impolite. Long Zai warned in a deep voice. Dao friend Long, who won't give you face. Don't worry. Everyone agreed, and the nearby villagers cheered. With Long Zai overseeing the village every year, they didn't have to worry about being bullied. Although the Celestial Divine Sect was powerful, the bandits they raised didn't dare to casually slaughter the villagers. It was also because Long Zai was here to watch. Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi secretly sneaked into the low-lying sea of flowers. They used the earth origin to continuously dive down. They only touched the divine iron after diving for a full 3 kilometers. Yi Qinghan supported the soil, leaving behind a large space. He said to Emperor Yi, Son, use the star saber to pierce through this divine iron. It'll be 3 meters deep at most. Emperor Yi took out the star saber. It was incomparably sharp and could cut through iron like mud. He dug out the divine iron piece by piece. The divine iron that was 3 meters deep was quickly pierced through. With a light step, it fell down. Once they entered the underground sacred realm, they were stunned by the bloody color. The blood had already solidified, and there was nothing but red. There were thousands of fist-sized luminous pearls that lit up the vast underground space. This should have been a beautiful sacred ground, but unfortunately, there was no spiritual energy at all. Time was completely still, and they couldn't feel the passage of time. It was so quiet that it made one's hair stand on end. Yi Qinghan looked around and found that a mountain had been broken in half. There was a platform on top of it and a person was lying on it. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan flew up with Emperor Yi and landed on the platform. The person was about 8 or 9 years old. He had delicate features, and it was hard to tell if he was a man or a woman. At this moment, his face was still rosy, and all of his physiological functions hadn't been damaged. It was as if he had just been placed here yesterday. Chapter 858. Other than this child, there was nothing else in the underground space. Yi Qinghan carried the child and said to Emperor Yi, "Let's go back first. Once we figure out this child's identity, we will be able to unravel the truth of what happened back then." The two of them brought the child back the way they came and quickly returned to the surface. Before they even popped their heads out, they saw sword god Dugu staring at them. Shua Yi Qinghan was shocked and took a few steps back while carrying the child. "Senior sword god, you are looking for me?" Yi Qinghan asked in shock. Sword god Dugu frowned as he looked at the child in Yi Qinghan's arms and asked softly, "There's a space underground?" The child was brought out from underground? Yi Qinghan quickly nodded and asked, "Senior, you and Master God Flowing Light are of the same generation. Do you know who this child is?" Sword god Dugu shook his head and said indifferently, "I'm not familiar with Master God Flowing Light, but I understand his character. This child has been underground for so long and is still full of vitality. The place below should be a place where time is still. Flowing Light placed him there, so he should be his descendant. You can ask Master Godlife about this, she should be able to give you an answer." "How can we wake him up?" Yi Qinghan asked curiously. "He was sealed by eternal time. Of course, only the Master God of Time can undo the seal. Only the Master God of Time of the six gods Dao Sex Master God of Time can undo it," Sword God Dugu said calmly. Yi Qinghan went silent for a moment and bowed slightly towards Sword God Dugu. He smiled and said, "Senior, please keep this a secret for me for now. I'll take my leave first." Sword God Dugu was too lazy to look at Yi Qinghan. He was a straightforward person and would not interact with a fox spirit like Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan brought the child and Emperor Yi to sneak into the inn. Before they even entered the guest room, they were stopped by Qin Yanfei. Qin Yanfei's eyes were filled with anger as she asked in disdain, "I didn't expect a trash like you to not only be lecherous, but also love children. Beast!" Yi Qinghan was furious. Why was this damned woman haunting him? "Get lost. I'm not in the mood to mess around with you. If you dare to pester me again, I'll drag you into the room, strip you naked, and torture you," Yi Qinghan said angrily. Qin Yanfei was immediately frightened and ran back to the third floor. When she reached the third floor, she glared at Yi Qinghan unwillingly. Yi Qinghan shook his head. This kind of woman actually dared to come out into the pugilistic world. She didn't have any ability, yet she still caused trouble. Fortunately, she had a strong backing. Otherwise, she would have been snatched away and raped 100 times over. When she died, not even her corpse could be found. After returning to the Sky Room 1, Long Zai saw him carrying the child and could not help but ask in surprise, "Didn't you go to the underground space? Where did this child come from?" "Of course it's from the underground space. Time is still there, and the child has not changed at all. He should be a child of your Long clan. If he's not your brother, then he should be your uncle. You should recognize him properly and then think of a way to undo his seal. He should know something." Yi Qinghan placed the child on the bed and fell asleep on the bed. Long Zai was dumbfounded. She was not even a year old back then and only had a few fragmented memories. After so many years, how could she still recognize someone from the Long clan? This is a good thing. At least one more member of the Long clan survived. Dong Qin looked at Long Zai's dazed expression and could not help but comfort her. Right. I should be happy. To be able to be alone in the underground space in grandfather's room, it means that he should be a direct descendant of the Long clan. Unfortunately, I don't know who he is," Long Zai said excitedly. Senior God of Swords said that he was sealed by the Eternal Time technique. If he wanted to undo the seal, only a Master God of the Time lineage would be able to undo the seal. The Master God of Life should know his true identity, Emperor Yi said in a low voice. The Master God of Time. Long Zai frowned. She did not know if she should trust the current Master God of Time. The six gods Dao sect and the Long clan no longer had much affection for each other. She did not even know if the master god of time had been bribed by ghost Taoist flowing void. However, the eternal time technique was a master god-level secret technique. It was strictly passed down. Apart from the head disciple of the time inheritance and the master of time, no one else knew it. I'll go ask the master god of life. Long Zai pondered for a moment and decided to take the risk. Yi Qinghan was drowsy. He had just fallen asleep after being tired for so long. In his days, he heard that Long Zai was going to the Six Gods Tao sect to ask the master god of time. He immediately opened his eyes and said lazily, "Once the news of this child's birth spreads, Ghost Taoist Flowing Void and the other participants from back then will probably flatten the Dragon Gate Inn. We won't be able to escape. If I were you, it would be best not to trust anyone." "Then what do we do? I don't have a way to break the seal," Long Zai said helplessly. "Don't you think there are 2 time inheritors in the inn? Suppress them, steal their memories, and secretly learn the eternal time technique." Yi Qinghan said coldly. "This isn't good. What if the time inheritance didn't betray grandfather? Wouldn't we be pushing them to the other side?" Long Zai frowned. "The most heartless and cold people in the world are the human hearts. It's better to be safe than sorry." "This is just my personal opinion. It's better to rely on yourself than on others," Yi Qinghan said tiredly. "This is my personal opinion. Do as you see fit. I'm going to rest for a while. My brain is about to turn to mush." With that, Yi Qinghan went back to sleep. The 4 women were at a loss. At crucial moments, they still needed Yi Qinghan to make the decision. In terms of cultivation, they couldn't be compared to Yi Qinghan. However, Dong Qin and Zixien had an inexplicable trust in him. As for Emperor Yi, there was no need to talk about it. As for Long Zai, although he had only interacted with Yi Qinghan for a short period of time, he knew that Yi Qinghan's brain wasn't something that an ordinary person could compare to. Something that he couldn't figure out after thousands of years, Yi Qinghan solved in a single day. The gap between them wasn't small. Therefore, he could only suppress his thoughts for now and wait for Yi Qinghan to recover. On the 3rd floor, Qin Yen Fei told Shuelyang about the child. Shuelyang was also an extremely intelligent person. He felt that Yi Qinghan wasn't as bad as he appeared to be, so he advised, "Xiao Fei, don't provoke him. That child's origin is unknown. Who knows where he found him? No, show me the child's clothes again." Qin Yen Fei had a clearer view. When she showed the child's clothes again, Shuelyang couldn't help but have goosebumps. That child's clothes are exactly the same as the clothes of Hua Hai City's Long family. No one wears this kind of clothes for a long time. Could that child be? Shuelyang said in shock. Someone from the Long family? Didn't they go extinct? Qin Yen Fei asked in shock. Do you still remember what Master called us here for? To find clues about Hua Hai City's destruction. This child is the key. Go and inform Master. I'll go and get the child. Shuelyang immediately said. Yi Qinghan also didn't expect that Qin Yen Fei's words would reveal the child's matter. Not only did Qin Yen Fei inform the Time Master, she also informed the other 5 law masters of the Six Gods Tao sect. In the main sect of the Six Gods Tao sect, Taoist empty ghosts' eyes flashed with disbelief and shock. Chapter 859. Inside the inn, Yi Qinghan had just fallen asleep. He did not want to wake up even with the 4 women chattering beside him. At this moment, Shuelyang knocked on the door. Emperor Yi opened the door and looked at Shuelyang, asking, "What's the matter? Could it be that your family's princess went missing and you're here to ask for her?" Shuelyang smiled awkwardly. He could ask for her, but he did not ask for the child. He immediately bowed and said, "You've misunderstood. I'm indeed here to ask for someone, but it's not my junior sister. It's that child. He's my grandmaster's son, which means he's my martial uncle." "You're really here to ask for her? Who's your martial uncle? You've got the wrong person. The person you're looking for isn't here. Emperor Yi was vigilant and immediately shut the door. Asterisk bang bang bang. Asterisk Shuel Yang knocked on the door in an orderly manner. He did not seem to have given up. Long Zai frowned. How did this Shuel Yang know that the child Yi Qinghan brought back was the Long family's son? Even now, Long Zai had forgotten about the child's clothes. Open the door. I want to ask him how he knows that the child is my Long family's, and whether that girl knows about it. Long Zai said in a deep voice. Emperor Yi opened the door and turned to let Shuel Yang in. Long Zai reached out to close the door. She flipped her hand and locked it around Shuel Yang's throat. Shuel Yang did not have any chance to resist. Tell me, how did you know that the child is from the Long family? Long Zai asked coldly. Boss Long, it's a misunderstanding. This child is my martial uncle. How could I not know about the Long family's clothes? Shuel Yang hurriedly explained. Long Zai turned to look at the sealed child on the bed. He was indeed wearing very little clothes. The green dragon on his left shoulder was very lifelike, and the sea of flowers on his right shoulder was very colorful. It was very gorgeous. Other than you, who else knows? Does that girl beside you know? Long Zai asked in a deep voice. I know. I told her and told her to inform the teacher. Shuel Yang looked at Long Zai in confusion, not understanding why she was so nervous. Long Zai pushed Shuel Yang away in a fit of rage. He turned around and rushed up to the third floor. When he saw Qin Yen Fei's excited face, he once again launched a sneak attack. He dragged her downstairs and sent her to the Sky Room 1. Long Zai was filled with murderous intent. If he really couldn't do it, he would really kill her to silence her. Tell me, who else did you tell about the child? Long Zai asked coldly. Qin Yen Fei was scared silly by Long Zai's killing intent. This was the first time she saw a master god releasing killing intent towards her. She was unable to withstand it at all, her teeth were chattering. Ha ha ha. Qin Yen Fei said while trembling, Senior, I have already informed Master, Ancestor Ling of the Life Inheritance, and Long Zai and the others were so angry that they were trembling. It seemed that this talkative woman had told a lot of people. Who else? Long Zai asked angrily. I have already told the ancestor masters of the Six Gods Dao sect. Qin Yen Fei shrunk her head, not daring to look at Long Zai's murderous eyes. Emperor Yi and the others did not know whether to laugh or cry. The information that they wanted to protect was all revealed by this stinky girl. Moreover, it was done so quickly. What should we do? Zixin shrugged and asked. Long Zai and the others looked at the sleeping Yi Qinghan and found that he had no intention of waking up. Shuel Yang looked at Qin Yen Fei helplessly. He knew that she had caused trouble again. Boss Long, why are you so concerned about the child's information being known by our Six Gods Dao sect? This child is the orphan of our Six Gods Dao sect's ancestor. We should be the ones worried. Shuel Yang looked at Long Zai in confusion. He suddenly remembered that Long Zai was also surnamed Long and was so concerned about the child's safety. Could she also be a member of the Long clan? Lock the two of them up. Use the lives of Qin Yen Fei and Shuel Yang in exchange for the child's life. I want their master to have no choice but to help me undo the eternal time seal on his body. Long Zai looked at the child and clenched her fist. However, she did not know that the sovereigns had already taken action. In the Six Gods Dao sect, Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong sent out a communication talisman. It streaked across the void and disappeared in a flash. In the Dragonline Plane, the Killing God Dao was the most famous assassin organization. Their business covered any place and any force. As long as they could afford it, they would kill even the top of the older generation, let alone sovereigns. The Godslayer sect had a total of 36 branches, and each branch controlled hundreds of cities. They were merciless and ruthless in their attacks. There were terrifying lords in each branch. If more than 10 half-step lord-level assassins worked together, It was not impossible for them to assassinate a lord. This was an organization that struck terror into the hearts of major organizations. Qianxi City happened to have a branch, and the person in charge was sovereign god Lingtian. He had attained his Tao as an assassin. He came and went without a trace. His movements were strange, and very few people could capture his movements. Since his debut, none of his targets had been spared. Sovereign god Lingtian wore a ghost mask. It was a green-faced ghost with frightening fangs. He took out a communication talisman, frowned, and muttered, "This old fox. I almost lost my life in order to take on his previous business. To think that he still has a tail and left behind an orphan." Sovereign god Lingtian pondered for a moment. He clapped his hands and summoned more than 10 black-clothed men. They all wore green-faced ghost masks, but there was a number on their forehead of different sizes. Kill the boss, Long Zai, and a child wearing the clothes of the Long family. He's currently unconscious, so don't kill the wrong person. Right, there's also a silk pants. I don't know his name, but he has 3 beauties by his side. It's obvious that he's someone the client hates. Let's do him a favor and treat him as a gift. Go. Ling Tian waved his hand. Yes, my lord. Do we kill the 3 women? The leader asked respectfully. The client didn't say. Just give one of them as a gift. Just kill that silk pants. Do it now and don't leave any evidence. Be quick and complete the mission before the people of the 6 gods Tao sect enter Flower Sea City. The green-faced ghost said hoarsely. Yes, my lord, the black-clothed men said in unison. Shua, more than 10 black-robed men flashed and disappeared into a palace, diving into the darkness. These black-clothed men were all half-step over god assassins. They were merciless and had never failed. Once they failed, it was equivalent to death. The god-slaying path didn't allow failures. Within the Dragon Gate Inn, on the 2nd day, Yi Qinghan got up and saw a group of people standing in his room, especially Qin Yanfei, who was so aggrieved that she did not dare to raise her head. He knew that something bad must have happened. However, he did not know that Qin Yanfei's nagging had caused Ghost Taoist Flowing Void to pay special attention to him. As a result, the people from the Killing God path had one more target, and that was him. What's going on? Why is it so lively? Yi Qinghan had a good night's sleep and was full of energy. He stretched and asked. Everyone in the 6 gods Tao sect knows about the child, including Flowing Ghost Taoist, Long Zai said helplessly. Yi Qinghan trembled. His fingers trembled as he asked hoarsely, Then why aren't you running? Are you waiting for death? Chapter 860. Yi Qinghan's question made everyone roll their eyes. He had been lying there the entire night and no one could wake him up. Now he was asking why he didn't run? Whoosh. Yi Qinghan jumped up and tidied his clothes. He said to the stunned crowd, Take the child and leave. It's not safe here. Since Ghost Taoist Flowing Void could make Flower Ocean City disappear in one night, he can do the same to all of you. Yi Qinghan was still worried about Long Zai and the child's safety. He didn't expect that he would be targeted by the god-killing Tao. I don't believe that my ancestor Flowing Void did this. You liar! Qin Yanfei said angrily. He. Yi Qinghan sneered and said to Qin Yanfei, I knew that a stinky girl like you is incapable of accomplishing anything. I should have killed you yesterday. Tao friend, I want to say that you are just guessing. My ancestor Flowing Void has been investigating the truth behind Flower Ocean City's destruction. How could he be the culprit? Shuel Yang didn't believe it and questioned. Good luck to you. If you know too much, you will be killed. Yi Qinghan said with disdain. This kind of inexperienced child thought too highly of the world. It was as if the world was his parents. After Yi Qinghan finished speaking, he looked at the inn and found it empty. He couldn't help but ask curiously, Where are the others? They are at the Mystic God Valley 150 kilometers away. The barter has already started. We were going to go there, but you were unconscious and didn't wake up. So we waited here. Emperor Yi replied. Dong dong dong, Yi Qinghan's heart suddenly sped up. He couldn't help but frown and think, something's not right. Even if Ghost Taoist Flowing Void wants to kill Long Zai and the child, I shouldn't feel such a strong sense of danger. Do you feel anything? Yi Qinghan looked at Emperor Yi and the others and asked. Emperor Yi, Dongqin, and Zixin all shook their heads. They didn't feel anything strange. Only Long Zai's expression was ugly. Yi Qinghan couldn't help but feel surprised. He had a nagging feeling that someone was targeting him. You guys should leave first, Yi Qinghan reminded Long Zai in a deep voice. Boom! A low voice rang out and the originally quiet inn immediately echoed. Long Zai was shocked. He gently raised his finger and signaled everyone to be quiet. He lowered his voice and said, Someone has touched the trap of the inn. It's definitely not Ting Lao-san and the others. They know the inn like the back of their hand and would never touch anything that they shouldn't touch. A stranger has come in. The corner of Yi Qinghan's mouth twitched. He looked at Qin Yanfei and said in disdain, If Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong is clean, why would anyone come looking for us if you didn't inform anyone else but the peak masters of the Six Gods Tao sect? Shuel Yang and Qin Yanfei could not help but look at each other in dismay. If what Yi Qinghan said was true, then Flowing Sky Ghost Taoist was too good at acting. He was so pretentious that the entire Six Gods Tao sect had been deceived. You guys stay here. I'll go out and take a look, Yi Qinghan said in a low voice. I'll go with you, Emperor Yi quickly said. The two of us can go too. After all, we're not the target, Zixin and Dongqin also quickly said. Yi Qinghan thought about it and agreed, so he didn't refuse. However, he didn't expect that with the three of them, the God-killing Tao sect's people would instantly lock onto their target. The four of them pushed open the door and looked at the empty inn. They could see everything, but there was no one else. Yi Qinghan narrowed his eyes and looked around. He activated his soul to its strongest state. He couldn't see the assassins, but he knew that they were hiding in the Dragon Gate Inn, and there were many of them. All the assassins had locked onto Yi Qinghan. A playboy accompanied by 3 supreme-grade women was very discerning. He knew that Yi Qinghan was also one of the targets, but he didn't attack immediately. Instead, he waited for an opportunity. There are a total of 17 people. 8 on the second floor, 4 on the third floor, and 3 on the first floor. We don't know where the other 2 are, but we can confirm that there are 2 of them. Our escape routes are all sealed, Yi Qinghan whispered. Actually, there were not only 17 people this time, but 19. However, 2 people from the God-killing Tao sect were heading to the place where everyone was gathered. They threw out a large number of treasures to attract everyone's attention. They were doing their best to buy time for their teammates and kill them silently. Their cultivation base is probably supreme grade among half-step lords. We can't fight them head-on. On average, 2 of them can take on one of us. If 4 of them work together, they can kill a lord. As for the other 2 whose positions we don't know, they're definitely the best of the best. Let's find a chance to get out of the inn. Yi Qinghan was on high alert. His hair stood on end. He knew that they had encountered a formidable enemy this time. Dongqin, Zixin, and even Emperor Yi did not notice any of the assassins. They could not help but be surprised. How did Yi Qinghan know? They would never have guessed that the God-killing Tao sect's targets included Yi Qinghan. Now they were emitting a faint murderous intent toward Yi Qinghan. That was why their positions were exposed. Let's retreat first and discuss our escape route. Yi Qinghan retreated slowly and returned to his room. His suppressed heartbeat suddenly accelerated again. Bang bang bang, sweat appeared on Yi Qinghan's forehead. He frowned. He could not understand why this group of assassins would target him but not Emperor Yi and the other 2. Why? I really don't understand. I did not offend anyone important in the upper planes. Why would this group of assassins target me? Yi Qinghan could not figure it out no matter how hard he racked his brain. There must be a motive to kill someone. This was especially true for assassins. They would not be so bored as to come and kill him. This could only mean that someone had offered him a price. He could not imagine that he was just an accessory for killing Long Zai. He was the kind that was given away. If he knew, it would be strange if he did not crush this group of assassins. Target you? Why would they target you? Shouldn't they be targeting us? Long Zai asked curiously. I don't know. When I went out just now, I could clearly feel the killing intent of that group of people towards me. Yi Qinghan rolled his big innocent eyes and scratched his head. After thinking for a long time, Yi Qinghan looked at Qin Yanfei and asked, Did you mention me to anyone in the Six Gods Dao sect? Qin Yanfei shrunk her head and did not dare to look into Yi Qinghan's eyes. She muttered, I only told sect master and ancestor that you are very annoying. Kacha. Yi Qinghan clenched his fist as killing intent shot out. He stared at Qin Yanfei. If not for the fact that this group of assassins were ruthless, he would definitely put his blade on this stinky girl's head and use her as a hostage. However, after thinking about it, the group of assassins did not know Qin Yanfei. A hostage was useless. Kill our way out. Don't fight in the inn. Try to lure the people from the gathering here. Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Emperor Yi and the others took out their weapons and prepared to kill their way out. The two of you, open your mouths. Yi Qinghan looked at Shuoyang and Qin Yanfei and said coldly. Ah. Shuoyang and Qin Yanfei were stunned and opened their mouths to ask why. However, Yi Qinghan's hand trembled and two golden lights rushed into their mouths. Before they could spit them out, they turned into strands of energy and rushed into their bodies. It's nothing. It's just a little bit of poison. It should be enough to kill a dragon. If you want to live, you have to cooperate with us and charge out. Otherwise, you will be buried with us. Yi Qinghan's eyes were emotionless as he said heartlessly. Qin Yanfei looked at Yi Qinghan angrily. Only now did she realize that she should not have treated him as a good-for-nothing. Chapter 861. Below the Dragon Gate in lay three corpses. They were the corpses of Ting Laosan and the others. The three of them did not even have time to resist before they were killed. One could only imagine the strength of this group of assassins. Yi Qinghan gestured and whispered, Boss Long and I will be in charge of the assassins. My son will be in charge of soul attacks in the room and find out where they are. Zixien will be in charge of protecting my son and the child. Once she finds out where the assassins are, someone will definitely come to assassinate them. At that time, all you need to do is wait. No one raised any objections. Everything was ready. Yi Qinghan summoned the star-twisting vine and had it extend its vines to cover the entire inn. He wanted to find the assassins. Pai Xiu was also summoned. It controlled the surrounding space, and Yi Qinghan would sense the slightest fluctuation in space. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan and Long Zai stepped out of the room. The two of them had their backs to each other as they cautiously looked around. They realized that the entrance of the inn had become a death door. Once they got close, they would be attacked by more than 10 people at the same time. If they wanted to leave, they would have to kill this group of people. The assassins' positions were changing rapidly. Although they could sense their presence, they could not find their location. The two of them activated their souls to their strongest state. They were both at the Lord God level, so their senses were extraordinary. Go to the main hall, Yi Qinghan whispered. The two of them moved slightly, and a dagger appeared above them without any warning. It swept past Long Zai's head. Whoosh! When one person moved, the others followed in an orderly manner, filling in the gaps and blocking all the blind spots. Yi Qinghan and Long Zai could not dodge. As the group approached, Yi Qinghan's frenzy lost its effect. However, he reacted quickly. With a wave of his hand, frenzy disappeared and a black dagger appeared. He slashed through the air and destroyed everything in his path. Boom! There was a loud collision, and a sharp sound pierced their eardrums. A black figure fell into the distance. Yi Qinghan almost stepped through the metal plate and stabilized himself. However, there were still people filling in the gaps and stabbing his left rib. PSSH. Yi Qinghan sucked in a breath of cold air as the dagger pierced his flesh. His left hand tore through the void and grabbed the assassin. He lifted his knee and smashed it toward the assassin's head. Bang! The assassin had heavily injured Yi Qinghan's left rib, but he had paid the price with his life. He had not expected Yi Qinghan to be so fast and powerful. Yi Qinghan had directly blasted his head apart with a knee strike. The godhead did not even have time to escape before it was tightly bound by the star-twisting vine. Yi Qinghan felt as if his blood was about to freeze. The dagger is poisoned. Yi Qinghan growled, reminding Long Zai. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan channeled the essence of fire towards his left rib, and a top-tier 16th-grade divine flame directly burned away the poison. The air was filled with a vile stench that made one dizzy. Shuel Yang and Qin Yanfei, who had just rushed out of the room, felt their legs go soft and almost fell to the ground. Dong Qin had the heavenly treasure battle body, and her entire body was filled with treasures. She was already immune to all poisons, and poisons had no effect on her. However, the assassins did not have any killing intent toward her, and she could not find them either. Out of the 17 assassins, one had fallen. The 3 assassins that were fighting Long Zai retreated immediately after clashing. They did not fight to the death. The room fell into a deathly silence once again. "Are you all right?" Long Zai did not even turn his head. He only knew that Yi Qinghan was injured. Although he was anxious, he did not show it. Yi Qinghan's mouth twitched. The other party's divine weapon was obviously specially made to extract blood and release poison too. The top of the dagger was wide, and it was easy to enter but difficult to exit. Therefore, it was still stuck in his body and could not be pulled out. Blood flowed continuously. Although the poison had been burned away, the pain was still unbearable. "I'm fine." Yi Qinghan gritted his teeth and replied. Yi Qinghan steeled his heart and pulled out the dagger. The origin of wood surged and quickly healed his injuries. His dragon blood boiled and provided him with the power of blood, and his left rib quickly recovered. Just as Yi Qinghan was recovering, the assassins moved again. This time, 13 figures appeared. 2 of them pounced toward Dong Qin, Shuel Yang, and Qin Yanfei, while the remaining 11 pounced toward Yi Qinghan and Long Zai. The sound of a zither resounded in the room, and 10,000 melodies covered the entire inn. Anything that came into contact with the zither music would appear. Hua! The moment Emperor Yi discovered the assassins, he immediately triggered the melody. A long rainbow exploded from the assassin's body, and the figure appeared in front of Yi Qinghan's eyes. Yi Qinghan and Long Zai were overjoyed and counterattacked. Long Zai's fingers actually grew sharp claws like a wolf's claws. With a swipe of his claws, the stable space shattered like rotten wood. The 4 assassins revealed their true forms and were shocked by the light emitted from their bodies. Before they could react, Yi Qinghan and Long Zai were like wolves in a flock of sheep. Each of them broke the head of an assassin, and the powerful soul of a master god shattered the soul within the godhead. With a flip of their body, they grabbed another assassin. Gotcha! Their necks were broken and their souls suppressed. In the blink of an eye, only 12 of the 16 assassins were left. This time, the remaining assassins became much more obedient and hid themselves again. The sound of the zither continued, rising and falling. Emperor Ye's eyes were tightly shut, and his soul split into billions of pieces, following every strand of the melody. As long as the assassins made a move, they would not be able to escape from his divine sense. Zixin protected Emperor Yi by his side, and the child was behind the 2 of them. An austere aura filled the air, causing one's hair to stand on end. Only now did Qin Yanfei realize that she had caused a huge disaster. ghost, Taoist flowing void, was really the vicious beast of the past. The strongest assassin, number 1, frowned. He realized that the zither music was too strange, and it could directly expose the assassin's location. With Yi Qinghan and Long Zai's help, they would definitely not fail. Damn it, is this silk pants really a silk pants? He clearly has the cultivation of a master god. Our intelligence was wrong. He wants to kill us. Assassin number 1 was extremely angry. Assassin number 2 looked at assassin number 1. These two were the strongest, and even Yi Qinghan could not discover their track. The two exchanged hand signals, meaning that number 1 would be responsible for attracting the main force, and number 2 would be responsible for killing Emperor Yi in the room. Assassins would only be useful if they directly killed Emperor Yi. Otherwise, if the two master gods worked together, they would be able to wipe out this group of people from the god-killing path. Number 1 nodded. He was already extremely close to the cultivation of a master god, and he had even succeeded in assassinating a master god before. That was why Master God Ling Tian was not worried about giving this mission to him. Number 1 slowly approached Yi Qinghan from the other space, and there was not even the slightest ripple in space. Whoosh, number 1 attacked. He appeared out of thin air and directly attacked Yi Qinghan's throat. As long as he dodged, his attack would pierce through Yi Qinghan's head. If he did not dodge, he could only take the attack head-on. His speed was too fast, and there was no trace of him at all. Yi Qinghan did not even have time to defend himself, and could only reach out to grab his dagger. The 5 elements gathered in his hands, and the god-severing gloves exploded with a dazzling divine light. Boom! Assassin number 1's strength was definitely comparable to a master god's. With lightning speed, he directly shattered the god-severing glove. The origin of metal attached itself to Yi Qinghan's palm, and the origin of fire rushed toward the assassin. Yi Qinghan only felt a bone-piercing pain like maggots in his bones. After a shrill roar of anger, Yi Qinghan roared and clenched his large hand, directly grasping the assassin's dagger in his right hand. His left hand swung the dagger and sliced through the void, stabbing toward assassin number 1's throat. His right leg kicked toward the assassin's thigh, trying to force him to give up on the dagger. Bang! Chapter 862. More than 10 assassins attacked Long Zai at the same time, making it impossible for her to help Yi Qinghan. Assassin number 1 wanted to eliminate Yi Qinghan first. His strength was not comparable to that of a main god, so he was the easiest to kill. Apart from Yi Qinghan and Long Zai, no one else was a threat. Thus, assassin number 1 did not want to give up on his dagger. He twisted his upper body, dodging the dagger's attack, and kicked Yi Qinghan back. He was unparalleled in close combat, and both of them were kings of the same level. The bone-piercing pain did not deter them. Instead, they became more and more courageous. Hum, 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 Long Zai lived up to her name as a main god. The flexible sword in her hand transformed into a heavenly dragon that attacked all 10 assassins at the same time. However, she had to defend and attack at the same time, so she could only protect herself. She could not split herself to help Yi Qinghan. Assassin number 1 spun the dagger in his hand wildly, wanting to cripple Yi Qinghan's right hand. However, Yi Qinghan was no pushover either. His strength was boundless, and he forcefully caught the dagger in his hand. His 5 elemental Tao form erupted, and he forcefully pushed the assassin back more than 10 meters. The flames burned the sky, melting the ordinary metal in the surroundings. Even the dragon gate in was set ablaze. "Let go of me!" Yi Qinghan roared angrily. The dagger had already pierced through his palm. If he hadn't been holding onto it with all his might, assassin number 1 would have long since shattered his wrist. Assassin number 1 was too powerful. His divine power poured out, and he actually managed to block the attack of a 16th-grade divine flame for a short period of time. The icy aura diminished, and in an instant, it seized one's soul. Their eyes met, and the green-faced demon's ferocious expression appeared. Yi Qinghan's elbows and knees transformed into the sharpest divine weapons. He attacked wildly as if he had no regard for his own life. He forced assassin number 1 to retreat again and again. Crack, crack, crack. His bones shattered inch by inch like divine blades. Blood dyed the red, and as the fire burned, it grew stronger and stronger. In the end, assassin number 1 was unable to withstand Yi Qinghan's torrential attacks. He gave up on his dagger, retreated to a corner, and actually disappeared into thin air. Yi Qinghan was in so much pain that his heart was convulsing. There was not a single part of his body that was undamaged. The bones in his body were broken, and some of them had even pierced through his flesh. Assassin number 1 did not have it easy either. He curled up into a ball in the alternate dimension and growled in pain. His leg was almost completely broken by Yi Qinghan's kick. F***ck. Where did this information come from? Bastard, what kind of profligate son is this? If he is, then who else in the world isn't? The number 1 killer was burning with anger. He already had the intention to retreat. If he continued to fight, he might not be able to kill the target. This group of brothers that he had painstakingly cultivated would all die. At this moment, the second assassin was quietly approaching the Sky Room 1. Yi Qinghan was entangled by the first assassin, and Dong Qin was also entangled by another assassin. Although their combat strength was higher than his, the other party's movement technique was strange and could disappear at any time. In this narrow space, it was very difficult to kill him in a short period of time. Long Zai was also entangled by 7 or 8 assassins. He managed to injure 2 of them, but he was unable to kill them. All he could do was stall for time. As for Shuoyang and Qin Yanfei, the 2 of them had to join hands to barely keep their lives. Fortunately, the assassins did not have any killing intent towards them. Otherwise, the 2 of them would be the first to die today. Assassin number 2 was listening to the zither melody. He did not even open the door, but he quietly appeared in the room. Suddenly, his pupils shrank and his hair stood on end. Just as he was about to retreat, his body seemed to be enveloped by the will of a supreme god, and he was unable to dodge at all. Zixuan opened his eyes. His pupils flickered with blue and purple light, and in an instant, they turned into a green color. Freeze for me. Zixuan strenuously used his soul energy to freeze assassin number 2 in place. Emperor Yi gave up on playing the zither, and instead drew his star saber. With a horizontal slash, the saber slashed across assassin number 2's head. The powerful assassin number 2 did not even have the chance to scream. Even his godhead was cut open by Emperor Yi. How could his soul withstand the 10 great soldiers of the primal chaos 10 greats? He was eliminated on the spot. The heavens number 1 room was also cut into pieces. A corpse flew out of the hall from the 2nd floor and landed heavily on the ground. The assassins were stunned. Assassin number 2, who had escaped from the hands of a supreme god, was actually eliminated the moment he made his move today. Could there be another supreme god in the room? However, if Emperor Yi and Zixuan joined hands, they could definitely be considered as a supreme god. After all, the 2 of them had the inheritance of a supreme god, and Emperor Yi even had the supreme god's godhead. Retreat. Assassin number 1 no longer doubted his judgment. The intelligence was seriously wrong. If the battle continued, they would all be wiped out. 1. Emperor Yi had just killed assassin number 2 and played the zither again. Now, whoever moved would die. The assassins all hid themselves, but they still stayed in the inn. They did not dare to move recklessly. If they touched the melody, their positions would be exposed. Yi Qinghan squinted his eyes and stared ahead. He knew that assassin number 1 was near him. he healed most of his right hand and slowly spasmed violently. He was ready to forcefully blast assassin number 1 out of the alternate space. A tyrannical aura rushed into the sky, startling the gathering 300 miles away. Many experts turned to look at the Dragon Gate Inn. They could not help but be shocked when they saw the flames soaring into the sky. Zhuo Lu frowned. He looked to his side and saw that Shuoyang and Qin Yanfei were not there. He immediately asked, "Where's Xiao Fei? Where's Shuoyang?" "They seem to still be in the inn." A young man immediately replied, "Damn it, let's go back and take a look. If something happened to Xiao Fei, Master will kill me." Zhuo Lu was shocked. He flew into the sky and rushed towards the Dragon Gate Inn. Xiao, the 9 young disciples of the 6 gods Dao sect followed closely behind. They were as fast as lightning. The 300 miles in the upper plain was different from the 300 miles in the middle plain. They had to run as fast as they could. Some sovereigns were also curious. They looked at each other and prepared to take a look at the Dragon Gate Inn. Boom! Long Zai's aura erupted. The sovereign's divine aura was vast and mighty. He pierced through the roof of the Dragon Gate Inn with a sword. After today's battle, he would not stay in the Dragon Gate Inn anymore. There was no need for this place to exist. Roar! The sword whistled into the sky and tangled with the tyrannical aura. It turned into a true dragon, twisting space and time as it looked down on all life. Yi Qinghan swung his sword wildly. With a sweep of his blade, he uprooted all the buildings that could be demolished. The assassin had nowhere to hide. "You two go and protect the children," Yi Qinghan said to Dong Qin and Shuoyang. Swish, swish, swish. Dong Qin brought Shuoyang and Long Zai into the number 1 room. The battlefield was Yi Qinghan and Long Zai. The two of them stood back to back. Their divine senses were tense as they waited for the other to move. The number 1 assassin did not dare to move. He was secretly anxious. If he did not leave now, even he might not be able to leave. However, if he abandoned his teammates, the punishment he would receive when he returned would be even more painful than death. Only when Long Zai moved did the sovereigns in the assembly know that something big had happened. They did not have to think anymore. They all flew into the sky and charged toward the Dragon Gate Inn. The sovereigns moved extremely quickly. In the blink of an eye, they had arrived above the Dragon Gate Inn. They saw that the inn had been torn down. From above, they saw that Yi Qinghan was actually fighting side by side with Long Zai. That tyrannical and terrifying aura was not that of a silk pant. It was clearly that of a top expert of the younger generation. There were still a few corpses lying in the main hall of the inn. The green-faced demonic masks were very easy to recognize. Soon, someone confirmed their identity. "It's people from the god-killing Dao." Sword God Dugu frowned. However, he did not make a move. Instead, he waited for Dong Qin to make a promise. Chapter 863. A group of powerhouses surrounded the Dragon Gate Inn. At that moment, the inn had been turned upside down and was badly ventilated. Zhuo Lu looked at Yi Qinghan in disbelief. His aura was on par with a lord's, and he was bathed in a river of blood. He could not help but be shocked. He could not understand how he, who was still a playboy yesterday, could unleash such terrifying combat strength. Many people were stunned by Yi Qinghan. At that moment, he was like a killing demon. His clothes were torn, but he was still able to stand shoulder to shoulder with a lord. These famous powerhouses were very familiar with the strength of the killing god path. Those who could attack were definitely top-tier existences of the same level. Even Long Zai was injured, but Yi Qinghan was still alive. This meant that his strength had surpassed all the half-step lords. "Why don't we let them go? We'll leave too?" Long Zai was worried that Ghost Taoist Flowing Void would arrive, so she was prepared to compromise. Seeing so many people appear, Yi Qinghan did not want to expose himself too much, so he nodded in agreement. Let's retreat, Yi Qinghan said softly. The two of them slowly returned to the second floor with their backs against each other. Emperor Ye's music stopped abruptly. Assassin number 1 saw an opportunity and left first. The remaining 9 assassins followed closely behind. The group of lords outside did not want to offend the killing god path, so they all made way for them. As soon as the assassins left, Yi Qinghan and the others immediately heaved a sigh of relief. This group of people did not seem to have any lords, but they were the most difficult to deal with. Get ready to leave, the further the better. F***ck, I got attacked for no reason. This time, I killed so many of their assassins. The killing god path probably won't let me go. Yi Qinghan was helpless. He glanced coldly at Qinjianfei, his anger still unquenchable. Qinjianfei was shocked by Yi Qinghan's domineering aura and did not dare to say anything else. How was this a playboy? He could even sweep her away with one hand. Long Zai looked at Yi Qinghan apologetically. She did not expect Yi Qinghan to take the hit for her. If it were not for him, she and the child would not have been able to escape today. Should we split up? Long Zai suddenly did not want to be separated from Yi Qinghan. This group of freaks had decent individual combat strength. Once they joined forces with her, 3 to 5 chief gods would definitely not pose a threat to them. However, whether or not they would leave together was up to Yi Qinghan. Long Zai knew Yi Qinghan well. He was an absolute lover and would never give up his life just because they had been intimate. Yi Qinghan hesitated, not because he was worried about Long Zai's safety, but because he was considering where he should run to if they split up. He was unfamiliar with the upper plane, and the god-slaying path was so powerful. If he ran into the enemy's base camp, even if he was a lord, he would be crushed into pieces, let alone not being a lord. Cough cough, let's go together. How can I let you run around alone with the child? Yi Qinghan said seriously. Long Zai was so touched that her eyes turned red. However, she did not know that Yi Qinghan was only willing to follow her because he did not know the way. In addition, he had also offended the god-slaying path. The god-slaying path would probably pursue them relentlessly. Even if they did not follow Long Zai, they would still be hunted down. Then let's leave quickly, Long Zai said excitedly. Wait, bring this brat with us. Then contact the current chief god of time and ask him to help us remove the seal on the child. Yi Qinghan grabbed Qin Yanfei and said coldly. Qin Yanfei did not dare to resist and allowed Yi Qinghan to lift her up. She shrunk her head and tears of grievance were about to fall. Shuel Yang wanted to say something but hesitated. Seeing Qin Yanfei's frightened look, he immediately said, Fellow Taoist, you can take me as a hostage. Master will definitely remove Junior Master's seal. My junior sister has never traveled before and is very timid. Please don't lower yourself to her level. Go and inform your master. If you want this brat to live safely, then obediently wait for my message. If she dares to inform anyone else in the Six Gods Tao sect, I will ask the villagers to rape this brat before killing her. After killing her, I will feed her to the dogs. Yi Qinghan threatened sternly. Qin Yanfei's legs went soft from fear as she cried, Senior brother, save me. Woo, I was wrong. Don't cry. Without my permission, if you dare to say another word, I will strip you naked and let the world see. Yi Qinghan coldly reprimanded. Qin Yanfei immediately pursed her lips as her body trembled. Indeed, evil people need to be dealt with by evil people. Only when Yi Qinghan became ruthless did she know the consequences of offending him. Shuel Yang did not dare to refute and could only follow Yi Qinghan's decision. Emperor Yi and the others naturally would not refute Yi Qinghan's decision. Long Zai carried the child and stepped out of the room. Yi Qinghan grabbed Qin Yanfei's collar and carried her out of the room. The group quickly stepped out of the inn, but Cheng Wanli looked at Long Zai and the others with an evil smile. Did this old man allow you to leave? If I want something, there is nothing I can't get. Boss Long, since you have offended the people of the killing god Dao, why don't you follow me? Once you reach the Ghost Split Island, no one will be able to harm you. Ching Wanli said indifferently. Long Zai frowned as he looked at Ching Wanli and said coldly, Senior Ching, can you be a little more shameless? Don't force me to flip out. Now, go away. We are leaving. Flip out. I like wild horses the most. They are wild yet extremely charming. How can this old man let go of such a fine specimen? Ching Wanli snickered and clapped his hands lightly. Hundreds of powerhouses charged out of the sea of flowers in the distance. They were all infamous villains. Although none of them were lords, none of them had a cultivation base lower than a half-step lord. They had also been through hundreds of battles and were vicious in their attack. These 100-odd powerhouses were all powerhouses that Ching Wanli had recruited over the years. There were too many to count, and they were being hunted down by many organizations. Many young masters from sects and clans were angry, but they did not dare to say anything. After all, the powerhouses behind them did not follow them. Sword God Dugu stood with his sword in his arms, still not interfering. He could not wait to fulfill all three of Dong Qin's conditions today, so he was waiting. Long Zai's face was filled with anger. Ching Wanli was still causing trouble at this time. It was simply outrageous. What do you want? Long Zai said angrily. What do I want? Haven't I told you many times? Split Ghost Island is missing a mistress and a few concubines. The few of you are the best candidate. As for this little chaos, how dare he speak so rudely to me? I'll bury him on the spot today. Ching Wanli glared at Yi Qinghan with murderous intent. Yi Qinghan was puzzled. He mumbled to himself softly, could it be that I'm so handsome that I get implicated every time? Why is it that things that have nothing to do with me are always related to me in the end? Can you lend me a small condition? I'll return it to you if it's within my means in the future. Yi Qinghan looked at Dong Qin and asked calmly. Dong Qin nodded. She had 3 conditions anyway. It did not matter if one of them was missing or missing. Yi Qinghan grinned evilly at once. He looked at the group of evil powerhouses and said hoarsely, I'm the kind of person who hates complicated matters the most. I'll never split a problem that can be solved in one go. From today onwards, Split Ghost Island will disappear. Shua. Yi Qinghan's hand trembled as he threw Qin Yen Fei to Dong Qin. He summoned Zhongquang and said to Sword God Dugu, Senior Sword God, I'm here to exchange for a small condition. It's too simple for you. You get rid of this old ghost, and I'll deal with the rest of the trash. Is that okay? Chapter 864. Sword God Dugu looked at Yi Qinghan in shock. It was not that he thought Yi Qinghan was difficult to deal with, but he was more concerned about the group of villains behind him. There were about 130 of them, and all of them were half-step lords. Even he would need a long time to kill them all, but Yi Qinghan wanted to deal with them himself. You alone? Sword God Dugu asked in return. Yes, I'm alone. If you don't believe me, we can make a bet. If I kill this group of people first, and you kill this old man later, I'll consider this condition useless. You still owe Dong Qin 3 conditions. If I kill these people later, I'll owe you 2 conditions. How about that? Yi Qinghan said calmly. I don't believe that your conditions are worthless, Sword God Dugu said bluntly. Then I'll trade 3 conditions for one of your conditions. If that doesn't work, I'll trade my Star Saber for one of your conditions. That shouldn't be a problem, right? Yi Qinghan was speechless. This old man did not trust him at all. I'm not interested in sabers, so I'll trade your 3 conditions. I hope they'll be useful to me. Sword God Dugu agreed to Yi Qinghan's challenge. Ching Wanli's expression changed immediately, and he said coldly, Old man Dugu, this has nothing to do with you. You and I will mind our own business. You'd better not provoke me, or you won't be safe no matter where you go. You'll have to pay back what you owe. I hope you won't be able to make me feel uneasy after today. Sword God Dugu slowly released his grip on his sword and placed his fingertips on the hilt. The group of people immediately dispersed, and even the sovereigns ran far away. Long Zai looked at Yi Qinghan worriedly. His opponent was a group of half-step lords, and they were all murderers. They were the devil of devils. With so many of them working together, even a lord would have to retreat. Could he really do it alone? Retreat. Yi Qinghan stomped on the ground. His hair twirled in the air and danced in the wind. He walked forward with his frenzied sword in hand. His tall and straight body exuded a domineering aura, and the ground beneath his feet shook. Qin Yanfei looked at the playboy before her and really wanted to slap herself. How was this a playboy? Was he blind? The group of experts from Ghost Splitter Island grinned and laughed. They looked at Yi Qinghan with disdain. The cruelty in their eyes made one's hair stand on end. Where did this idiot come from? Ha ha ha, you don't know my name, do you? A powerful half-step lord laughed maniacally and mocked. This group of people was indeed full of evil. Moreover, they were well-known existences. Any one of them could scare off an entire city. The slightly weaker families did not dare to offend any of them. However, they met an even crueler person. No, they met a killing god. I was once called, Kill God. Yi Qinghan's aura soared to the heavens. His voice was like a sudden clap of thunder, causing the spectators dozens of li away to feel a chill. His aura was changing. Elements of the 5 elements moved. His god body was sparkling and translucent. His tattered battle robe fluttered even though there was no wind. He ignored more than 100 experts in front of him and grinned. His smile was so cold that it sent chills down people's spines. You don't know me, and there's no need for you to know me in the future. I'm just letting some people remember me and not provoke me. Otherwise, I'll uproot the 6 Gods Dao sect or the God-slaying sect, let alone Ghost Splitter Island. Boom. Yi Qinghan's 12 godheads poured out divine power. At that moment, his power was already sovereign power. Its quality was a level higher than that of a half-step lord. A 10,000-foot-long rainbow pierced through the galaxy. Wielding his sword, he suddenly accelerated. Ignorant child. No matter how powerful your aura is, you're still trash. I'll show you what a killing god is. Zhen Tianhu, the leader, roared furiously. His divine power roared, and the 3 divine swords on his back flew into the air. When they were unsheathed, the sword aura tore through the void. Earthbind, draw a circle on the ground. Yi Qinghan stomped his foot. The ground within a 50-kilometer radius cracked and rose into the sky. Tens of thousands of waves rolled up and dust filled the air. Earth Origin transformed into an earth dragon that coiled around the legs of the opposing powerhouses and pulled them into the ground. In my name, I command the 5 elements. Fight! Yi Qinghan growled and slashed through the void with his sword. Metal, wood, water, fire, and Earth Origin transformed into battle dragons that followed Yi Qinghan as they swept through thousands of kilometers. The sea of flowers was swept into the void, drowning the area in front of the Longmen Inn. Everyone snorted coldly and tried to move their legs. However, they discovered that their legs seemed to be tightly gripped by the earth. They could not pull them out at all. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan swept the 5 battle dragons and swooped down, slaughtering his way into the crowd. The moment he attacked, the world collapsed and blood stained the sky. He broke several divine bodies right away. His aura shredded the corpses. The star-twisting vines wrapped around them and devoured their flesh and blood. Countless vines wrapped around a godhead. Even the souls of the dead could not escape. Hum. All the powerhouses drew their swords and slashed wildly at Yi Qinghan. Only then did they realize that he was ridiculously powerful. Boom. Yi Qinghan's dragon blood boiled. The energy in his entire body erupted at this moment. His peak combat strength was revealed. With the might of a half-step lord, he forced all spells to submit to him. With a single slash, he broke the opponent's half-step lord god weapon. Who could withstand this attack? Hiss! Zhuxian Lu and the others gasped as they looked at the center of the battlefield in horror. A tornado tore through the earth. The people of Split Ghost Island were all caught in the battle. Whoever tried to escape would die. They could only fight to the death. They had never seen anyone so powerful. Yi Qinghan was best at fighting the strong with his strength. He was fighting with his life on the line. His strength was boundless. No one could withstand a single blow from him. Dragon scales began to appear, attaching themselves to his legs and arms. His heart was also protected. Yi Qinghan did not defend at all. He raised his sword and attacked. In the blink of an eye, he had killed more than 10 powerhouses. Combine your shoulders. Zhen Tianhu was furious. His sword turned into lightning and tore through the chaos. He surrounded Yi Qinghan tightly. Yi Qinghan did not care. His longsword danced in a circle and destroyed all the attack. He stomped on the ground and turned into a sharp sword. Wind mark. Swoosh. 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 Hundreds of figures attacked their opponents at the same time. No one knew which one was Yi Qinghan's real body. They could only resist with all their might. Only when they shattered the illusions did they realize that they had been tricked. Violent and domineering, Yi Qinghan blasted a powerhouse's body. Even his flesh and blood were shaken into nothingness. His sturdy godhead shattered, and his soul let out a shrill cry. Bodies flew everywhere. Yi Qinghan did not even blink. Only then did everyone understand what a real killing god was. Genesis Splitter. Yi Qinghan rose from the ground and soared into the sky. He swooped down from the sky and attacked Zhen Tianhu. Zhen Tianhu was shocked. He controlled the 3 divine swords to block, but the 3 swords were turned into rotten wood under Zhong Kuang's crazy suppression. They were directly shattered. Just as he said, Dao Mango split the sky and earth. A crack appeared in the Milky Way, and a spatial storm was torn out. No! Island Master, save me! Zhen Tianhu cried out in fear. He realized that his legs were still bound by the ground. He could not dodge at all. He could only watch as Yi Qinghan fell from the sky. He could only ask Qing Wanli for help. Chapter 865. Qing Wanli's hand trembled. Before he could even make a move against the solitary sword god, his side had been completely annihilated by Yi Qinghan. Sword god Dugu was stunned as well. He realized that Yi Qinghan's combat strength was ridiculously powerful. He did not seem like a half-step lord at all. Instead, he was as powerful as a lord. Boom! Yi Qinghan's saber slashed down on Zhen Tianhu's head, and the ground was split open, leaving behind a 1,000-mile ravine. The saber chi pierced through the divine metal underground, and the underground space almost collapsed. Suddenly, the earth shook and dust soared into the sky. The restraining force of the earth was actually broken by Yi Qinghan himself, and the experts were blown away. Zhen Tianhu was directly cut into pieces. Not even a single drop of blood was left behind. All of it was extinguished by the blade energy, and the corpse was split into pieces. Of course, only a few hard bones remained. Vomit! The princes and princesses standing outside had never seen such a terrifying scene. They were so frightened by Yi Qinghan's cruelty that they vomited. Yi Qinghan's killing intent surged as his battle intent soared to the heavens. He was like a true killing demon. His clothes were all shattered as he used his divine power to form a golden armor. From afar, no one knew whether to call him a war god or a killing god. I was once called, Kill God. Yi Qinghan's words reverberated in everyone's minds. The younger generation gulped as they recalled how they had mocked him for being a silk pants a few days ago. It was truly fortunate that they had not angered him. Sword God Dugu hadn't made his move yet. He looked at Yi Qinghan with interest, as if he didn't care about the previous bet. However, Qing Wanli also couldn't help those people. Earth roar. Accept my wrath. Roar, roar, roar. The earth heaved up and down, as if a giant dragon was roaring. The earth 1,000 li away was boiling, overturning the sky, wanting to devour the mountains and rivers. The sun and moon disappeared, and the sky immediately darkened. Ah, demon! The people from Split Ghost Island had gone mad. Although they were cruel, they only targeted the weak. None of them were like Yi Qinghan, who could kill hundreds of half-step lords without breaking a sweat. Fire burns the heavens, exterminates all laws. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan's entire body was bathed in the river of fire, destroying everything within 100 li. The center of the battlefield was set ablaze, and the earth was burned into nothingness, turning rotten wood into spring, a tree piercing the sky. Yi Qinghan mobilized the start-whining vine and stabbed it into the ground. It transformed into a sharp sword and pierced through the earth. It instantly grew to a height of 30,000 meters and pierced through the bodies of many experts. The 5 elements of heaven and earth were all under his control. Yi Qinghan had never unleashed his true combat strength before. Now that he had, the half-step lords were still fine, but only then did the half-step lords realize that no matter how many half-step lords there were, they were nothing in the face of Yi Qinghan. In my name, I command the origin of metal, turn it into a berserk state and destroy everything. Whoosh, 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 countless heavy swords appeared out of thin air, all of which were condensed from the origin of metal, slashing toward the enemy. Only the origin of water was scarce. The soil here was filled with blood, so Yi Qinghan could not mobilize the origin of water. The enemy began to panic. They no longer had the will to fight and wanted to escape. Qing Wanli was furious. Regardless of the outcome of this battle, Ghost Fisher Island was finished. Be *starred, how dare you! Qing Wanli bellowed threateningly. Yi Qinghan turned around and grinned mockingly. He said calmly, "There's one last move," the foppish smile. Everyone's pupils constricted. They saw Yi Qinghan plunge his saber into the ground. He formed a seal with both palms, and dragon blood roared all over his body. Dragon might soared into the sky. Dragon transformation! Roar! Yi Qinghan's human body had transformed into a dragon's body. This was not an illusion, but a true metamorphosis from a human body into a heavenly dragon. His physical body was torn apart, and dragon scales covered his body. 100,000-foot-long heavenly dragon rose into the sky and spun continuously. Its speed became faster and faster, and a huge vortex appeared in the middle of the battlefield. The ground was pulled up, forming an earthen dragon. All the soil above the underground Saint Realm disappeared, and the underground Saint Realm appeared before everyone. The 4 great origins of metal, wood, fire, and earth appeared, and 4 heavenly dragons appeared. Together with the true dragon that Yi Qinghan had transformed into, the 5 dragons intertwined and spun faster and faster. The underground Saint Realm was almost pulled out, let alone the group of half-step lords. Everyone panicked, especially those from Ghost Fisher Island. They did not have the chance to escape even if they wanted to. The earth bind was gone, but the dragon's spinning caused them to lose control of their physical bodies. No, no. Spare me. I'm willing to submit. Less than half of the remaining powerhouses could not join forces and struggled on their own. How could they break free from Yi Qinghan's restraint? This move was a combination of several secret skills. Coupled with the true dragon's body, its power was limitless. Unfortunately, its name was too tacky. It was called Dandy's Smile. Gradually, the spectators began to retreat, running further and further away. The underground Saint Realm appeared before everyone's eyes completely. At that moment, Long Zai was utterly impressed by Yi Qinghan's intelligence. She had spent thousands of years trying to solve the problem, but he had found the answer in just a moment. Looking at his heroic spirit, her heart was in a mess, and her face flushed red. Showing off, humph. Zixian snorted. She understood Yi Qinghan somewhat. After all, he was only a lesser god back then. She knew that he was unfathomable, but there was no need to make such a big scene in a fight. Once this bastard refines the 9 transformations Chaos Dao physique, he'll probably be even more powerful than a natural 9 transformations Chaos Dao physique. Dong Qin curled her lip. She was very unwilling to accept that one of the 10 great physiques had lost to a 5 elements Dao physique forged from a mortal physique. In the blink of an eye, half of the 100 demons were left. Only now did they know what a killing god was. The people they killed were all weaklings. It was nothing. Unfortunately, it was useless to beg for mercy now because they were all pulled into the vortex. Ah! Yi Qinghan roared at the sky, mobilized the power of heaven and earth, and dove into the depths of the vortex. Roar! Deafening dragon roars rang out, causing the earth to tremble. The ruins of Flower Sea City all disappeared. More than 60 experts were blown away by Yi Qinghan's energy like kites with their strings cut and fell to the ground. The surface of the underground sacred realm was covered with countless godly iron. Now, it had already become one and was incomparably hard. More than 60 bodies crashed into the godly iron, causing the underground sacred realm to completely collapse. The last inheritance of the Long clan was also destroyed. Bang bang bang! All the corpses exploded into pieces. A river of blood bathed the underground saint realm. The internal organs floated, and the smell of blood rushed to the sky. Blurg, devil! Some of those who had never witnessed a massacre could not take it at all. Even high gods and half-step lords had never seen such a gory scene. Almost 100 half-step lords had died at the same time. Who could withstand such pressure? Long Zai's stomach churned, and he turned his head away, not daring to look directly at her. Qing Yan Fei rolled her eyes and fainted from fright. Yi Qinghan returned to his original form and clapped his hands. With a wave of his hand, Kuang Zhong, who had fallen into the depths of the ground, returned to his hand. He said to Sword God Dugu indifferently, "It seems like Senior is purposely going easy on me. However, this Junior won't go easy on you. If you don't want to kill this old ghost, that's fine too. However, this means that you owe me a condition." Sword God Dugu snorted coldly. His sword slashed out from the east, causing the entire world to submit. It was as if heaven and earth were about to be destroyed. Chapter 866. The Dragon Gate Inn was razed to the ground, and the Sea of Flowers was destroyed by Yi Qinghan alone. 5 elemental Dao body, peak battle, killing until the gods vomited. The name of killing god was not undeserved. Soon, Sword God Dugu's attack attracted everyone's attention. Yi Qinghan was not interested in watching the Sword Dao. Take advantage of the chaos and leave. If we don't leave now, we won't have another chance. After Yi Qinghan finished his powerful attack, he swept up Qing Yan Fei and looked coldly at Shuel Yang before tearing space apart with the others to escape. Qianxi City, Killing God Path Branch. Assassin number 1 brought some other assassins back and knelt in front of Master God Ling Tian, not even daring to raise his head. In the history of the God-killing path, there has never been a failure, and there has never been such a great loss. Number 1, tell me what happened. Lord God Lingtian looked down at the assassins with a green face and fangs, and his voice was extremely cold. My lord, it's a problem with the gift. He is not a silk pants, his soul is at the Master God realm, and his fighting strength is terrifying. He could withstand 3,000 of my attacks, and did not retreat a single step. His hand was pierced by my dagger, but he held it tightly. I could not kill him even after using all my strength. Number 1 replied respectfully. Then who killed Number 2? With so many people working together, could it be that they could not kill the main target, Long Zai? Ling Tian asked again. Gulp, Number 1 swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Thinking about Number 2's tragic death, he could not help but sweat. Number 2's death was too humiliating. He had just entered the room and probably did not even have the chance to breathe before being killed. There should be another master god in that group. He is a zither expert and can track the traces of our brothers. I discussed with Number 2. I would attract the firepower while he went to kill the zither expert. However, he was killed the moment he opened the door. That zither expert and the silk pants were the main reason for our failure. The information that the customer gave us was completely wrong. Number 1 said in a deep voice. However, this subordinate is responsible for the failure of this mission. Please punish me, my lord. Number 1 took the initiative to ask for forgiveness. Perhaps the punishment he would receive would be much lighter. I am a fair judge of rewards and punishments. If the information is completely wrong, then the enemy is equivalent to 3 overgods. Even if I go personally, I may not be able to succeed. Moreover, I don't even know what's going on. All of you wait here. I'll go meet them personally. Ling Tian's figure gradually disappeared. He had long left the branch. Fortunately, Yi Qinghan had escaped in advance. Otherwise, if Ling Tian intercepted them, all of them would have been wiped out. Ling Tian's speed was extremely fast, and he was definitely a top-notch existence among the overgods. He controlled the Tao of slaughter, and his movement techniques were top-notch. In just half a day, he had appeared in front of the Dragon Gate Inn. The profound mysteries of the world collapsed, the laws wailed, and the sword Qi swallowed up the river. Sword God Dugu was still fighting, forcing Cheng Wanli to retreat step by step. His body was riddled with sword scars, and he was on the verge of death. If it wasn't for him resisting with all his might, he would have died a long time ago. Ling Tian looked down from afar and saw a sea of blood. It seemed that many people had died. There were still 2 assassins from the Tao of Slaughter hiding in the crowd. Ling Tian flickered lightly, and there was no fluctuation in space at all. He directly swept the 2 experts away without alerting anyone. The 2 assassins couldn't resist Ling Tian at all. They couldn't help but be shocked. When they turned around to look, they saw that it was a superior of the branch. They hurriedly said respectfully, "Greetings, my lord. What happened in the Dragon Gate Inn? Where's the target?" Ling Tian asked with a frown. Reporting to my lord, Cheng Wanli brought over 100 experts from the Ghost Splitter Island and prepared to snatch the 3 top-notch women beside Long Zai and that silk pants. In the end, the assassins were terrified. When they thought back to Yi Qinghan's madness, goosebumps rose all over their bodies. What exactly happened? Hurry up and speak. Sovereign God Ling Tian said furiously. Boom. The 2 assassins were so frightened by Ling Tian's terrifying aura that they knelt on the ground. They said in horror, the target, the silk pants, went on a rampage. With his strength alone, he brutally killed over 100 half-step lords from the Ghost Splitter Island. Those powerhouses were all top-notch half-step lords in the world. They were famous for killing. However, the self-proclaimed Tao of Slaughter only used the time it takes for an incense stick to burn to kill all of them. Ling Tian frowned. With so many experts, it would take a long time for a lord to kill them all. How was this a freaking silk pants? Be **starred, how dare you trick me? Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong, if I find out that you deliberately set me up, I'll tear your 6 gods Tao sect apart. Ling Tian looked at the battlefield. To be able to create such terrifying power, it was definitely not something an ordinary person could do. He had actually treated him as a freebie. When he thought about this, he felt like an idiot. Rather than saying that the responsibility lay with assassin number 1, it was more appropriate to say that he was the one responsible for the failure of this mission. Ling Tian had never been defeated before. Today, he had been defeated in such a pathetic manner. He had lost 10 of his subordinates in one go. Even the assassin number 2 whom he had spent so much effort to nurture had died. Such a loss would take many years to nurture. The Qianxi City branch was basically crippled. Disgrace. Ling Tian was furious. He clenched his fists and asked hoarsely, "Where did the target go?" "Sir, they directly tore through space and left. They were too powerful, and we couldn't follow them. Moreover, we'd be discovered if we followed them, so—" The assassin replied with a trembling voice. "Did you record the silk pants battle with the target?" Ling Tian asked coldly. "I recorded it. It's very complete." The assassin handed over the image stone, which was considered a meritorious service. Ling Tian took the image stone and disappeared from Sea of Flowers City in the blink of an eye. He did not even look at the scene where sword god Dugu killed Qing Wanli with his final sword strike. Half a day later, in Qianxi City, Ling Tian carefully observed the video of Yi Qinghan killing more than 100 experts. He gradually analyzed it and began to use the intelligence channels of the god-slaying sect to quickly investigate Yi Qinghan's identity. Yi Qinghan, from a small realm, entered a middle realm. The 3 women by his side are actually the inheritors of the Chaos Dragon, and the last one should have the heavenly treasure battle physique. This Yi Qinghan has exceeded my expectations. He has the 5 elements Dao physique, and he wants to forge the 9 revolution Dao physique. Ling Tian had practically dug out Yi Qinghan's foundation. This god-slaying sect was indeed ridiculously powerful, and they even reached into the middle realm. "Humph! You offended me. I don't care who you are, but I will crush you. Since you're in the Dragonline realm, you can't escape. However, I have to clarify this matter first. Ghost Taoist Flowing Sky, you better not disappoint me," Ling Tian coldly said. Ling Tian's hands formed a seal, and he summoned a transmission talisman. This type of transmission talisman had a specific channel. Whoosh! In the palace, a golden ripple appeared on the surface of a mirror, and Ghost Taoist Flowing Sky appeared in front of Ling Tian. "Flowing Sky, you're quite capable. You almost caused the annihilation of all my subordinate." Ling Tian's voice was cold, and he hoarsely said, "Silk pants? Because of one sentence from you, this old man lost 10 assassins that I nurtured, and the number 2 assassin that I personally taught died a tragic death. You better give me an explanation." Chapter 867. Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong's expression changed when he saw the image of Yi Qinghan killing the people from Ghost Splitter Island. "Fellow Taoist, please don't misunderstand. I didn't know he was so ridiculously strong. It's just that a junior in the sect described his appearance and behavior, so I hope you can deal with him," Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong hurriedly explained. No matter who they offended, they couldn't offend the branch leader of the god-slaying sect. Otherwise, they wouldn't even know how they died. Even if Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong wasn't afraid of Ling Tian, once Ling Tian was angry, the disciples of the 6 gods Tao sect could only hide in the sect. "I've only lost once so far, and my reputation is ruined. The heroes of the world have gathered outside the Dragon Gate Inn, and in less than half a day, the entire Dragonline realm will know that my god-slaying sect has lost. The death of my people is a small matter, but the name of the god-slaying sect cannot be blasphemed. The reason for this failure is your nonsense. If you don't give me an explanation, I'll personally go to the 6 gods Tao sect to ask for an explanation," Ling Tian shouted sternly. Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong's expression was ugly. He didn't expect Yi Qinghan to cause so much trouble for him. "I'll personally capture Yi Qinghan and send him to you for you to vent your anger," Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong said in a low voice. "No need. You don't have to worry about Yi Qinghan. He offended my god-slaying sect, so I'll naturally deal with him personally." Over-God Ling Tian coldly refused. Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong fell silent. It seemed that Ling Tian wouldn't let the 6 gods Tao sect off if he didn't vomit blood today. A drop of diluted supreme god force, if used properly, can instantly destroy a powerful over-god. My 6 gods Tao sect has been around for so long, but we only obtained a few drops of supreme god force. After diluting it continuously, there's only a few drops left. Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong gritted his teeth and released the supreme god force. It was a huge loss, and his heart ached incomparably. Supreme god force was the energy condensed by a paramount god, and a drop of it was equivalent to a peak paramount god's attack. After diluting it 100 times, killing an over-god would be child's play, and it was priceless. There were no more than 20 organizations that had supreme god force. Ling Tian's expression, which was hidden under the mask, changed slightly. He nodded and said, "All right, I will continue to complete the mission, but the price will be doubled. This time, I will do it personally, so there will be no mistake." Ghost Taoist Flowing Void exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and said coldly, "That's for the best. The price is not a problem. Lu Guang's orphan must not be left alive. Otherwise, I won't be the only one condemned by the world. Your god-killing Tao will also be punished." Tens of millions of li away, Yi Qinghan and the others were running for their lives, avoiding Qianxi City and entering Suang City. Yi Qinghan said in a low voice, "Let's use the gate to head straight to the center of the Dragonline realm. Let's escape from the Dragonline realm first." Once the god-slaying path was enraged, it would be like a thunderbolt. The Dragonline plain was no longer safe. Experts could come at any time. However, their speed was still a little too slow. On the day they entered the city, all the major cities in the Dragonline realm issued a domain gate restriction. It would only be activated once a month. Lord God Ling Tian naturally could not do this, but the entire god-slaying path definitely had the ability to ban all domain gates. Yi Qinghan and the others rested in an inn for a while. Soon, they received the news. Their expressions changed at the same time. It seemed like the god-slaying path's reaction was really fast. What should we do now? Without the domain gate, it would take at least 1,000 years for us to fly out of the Dragonline realm. Long Zai said helplessly. 1,000 years was too long. Yi Qinghan did not have that much time to waste here. He needed to quickly return to the middle plain. After all, that was his battlefield. Yi Qinghan was silent. He leaned on the chair and looked out the window. No one spoke. Qin Yanfei did not dare to speak either. Now, if she spoke another word, it might anger the god-slaying fiend in front of her. If she angered Yi Qinghan, he was capable of doing anything. The Dragonline realm was too big. The space-time was stable, and the gravity here was much higher than the middle plane. It was impossible to fly out of the Dragonline realm. Do you know the Master God of Su Hang City? Or the city lord of a nearby Master God? Yi Qinghan pondered for a moment and asked in a deep voice. Long Zai shook her head. Even if she knew, no one would dare to offend the god-slaying path to save her. Before the first wave subsided, another wave rose. Before anyone could find a solution, the 6 gods Tao sect issued another kill order, causing a huge commotion. Back then, the Flowing Light Master God was brought up again. The Flowing Light Master God's youngest son was born, but he was kidnapped by the Dragon Gate Inn's owner and Yi Qinghan. They threatened the 6 gods Tao sect. The 6 gods Tao sect hunted down Yi Qinghan, Long Zai, and the others in the name of the Flowing Light Master God. Anyone who killed Yi Qinghan or Long Zai would be able to comprehend the time law boundary steel. If they killed the other 2, they would be able to obtain the space law boundary steel. If they rescued the Flowing Light Master God and sent him to the 6 gods Tao sect, they would be able to comprehend the 6 law inheritance boundary steel and be personally taken in as a disciple by Ghost Taoist Flowing Void. In an instant, the entire Dragonline plain was discussing this topic. The expressions of Yi Qinghan and the others changed greatly. This ghost Taoist flowing void was indeed a sly old fox. He actually used the flowing light master god's name to hunt them down. This way they would have a good reason to act, and more experts would join in. In the future, it would be difficult for them to move an inch. In the Six Gods Tao sect, Shuel-yang returned to the sect and told the current time inheritor, the flowing light master god's direct disciple, Qing Si Hai. He was also Qing Yan Fei's father. You mean to say that Long Zai is also Master's descendant, and Martial Uncle Flowing Void is the real murderer who killed Master back then? Qing Si Hai had a square face and a dignified aura. He looked to be in his 40s, and his face was full of righteousness. His voice was deep and powerful, and it was very convincing. And it's definitely true. Master, the moment Junior Sister informed the sect, the assassin arrived at the Dragon Gate Inn. It was exactly as Yi Qinghan had deduced. At first, I didn't believe it, but when the assassin arrived, I understood. Our enemy was actually the sect master. Shuel-yang said in a low voice. We don't have any evidence, so don't spread it. Even if you say it, no one will believe you. Now we can only wait for the right time. Qing Si Hai slowly stood up. His tall and straight body emitted a powerful aura, causing the surrounding time to stagnate and everything to stop. Where did Martial Nephew Zai take Xiao Fei? How can we contact them? Qing Si Hai asked in a low voice. Replying to Master, this disciple doesn't know. Yi Qinghan only gave me a message talisman, telling you to wait for his message and not spread it. Otherwise, he will kill Xiao Fei. Shuel-yang bowed and said, and just act like you don't know about this. Without my orders, don't tell anyone. You can leave. I will go and test the sect master. Qing Si Hai waved his hand and said. Qing Si Hai left the Time Inheritance Hall and a cold light appeared at the corner of his eyes. He headed straight for the sect master's main peak. Along the way, the young disciples all bowed respectfully. It seemed like he had a lot of prestige in the sect. Qing Si Hai just nodded his head and quickly arrived at Flowing Sky Ghost Taoist seclusion area. He knocked on the door and entered. Their eyes met. Senior uncle, they all know the truth of what happened back then, but they don't have any evidence. That kid is still sealed, so we have to quickly wipe them out and destroy that kid. Qing Si Hai said seriously. And it seems like this Yi Qinghan is really a jink. He actually ruined my plans. Flowing Sky Ghost Taoist said coldly. At this moment, if Shuel-yang saw this scene, he would be so shocked that his teeth would fall out. He didn't expect his righteous master to be on the same side as Flowing Sky Ghost Taoist. Chapter 868. Within the spacious room, there were only two powerful sovereigns. Their eyes stared at each other, gleaming brightly. The revered Master God of Time, the direct disciple of the Flowing Light Master God, Qing Hai, had actually participated in the battle to kill his master. Just thinking about it made one shudder. Humph. I really don't understand the ancestral teachings. Why can't the 6 great inheritances merge into one? This old man wants to see for himself just what sort of an outcome would occur if all 6 legacies were to fuse together. That B***starred flowing light has been trying to stop me all this while. If not for the fact that he had advised the Life Master God and the others, this old man might have succeeded by now. Taoist Flowing Light's aura was cold and sinister. Even now, he still harbored a grudge against Master God Flowing Light. Senior uncle, I believe that once the 6 great laws are combined into one, you will definitely become a supreme god. Now that all the supreme gods are dead, you will definitely become an unparalleled existence. Qing 4Cs bowed and said, Yes, my dear nephew, I know you're ambitious. Don't worry, I won't be ungrateful. Once I become a paramount god, I'll definitely help you become a paramount god as well. When the time comes, we'll break through eternity and share the world. Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong said seriously. Overturning the four seas' dignified face glowed red. Just the thought of becoming a supreme god made him excited. However, the most important thing right now is to get rid of that child and kill Yi Qinghan and Long Zai. As long as the three of them are dead, who will know that we were the culprits from back then? Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong said with a sinister smile. Martial uncle, I have an idea. Qing 4C's eyes flashed as he spoke. Oh? Tell me, Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong immediately replied. That child has been sealed, and only my eternal time technique can undo it. They must have taken my daughter because they want me to undo the seal. However, they don't seem to trust me very much. Why don't we beat them at their own game and give them the false impression that I know you killed my master and then fall out with you? Then, you injure me and I escape from the Six Gods Tao sect. They will naturally come looking for me, and won't their location be exposed? Qing Sihai smiled. Then what should we tell the outside world? Ghost Taoist Flowing Void asked with a frown. The Six Gods Tao sect was a large sect after all. There had to be a convincing reason for the battle between the inheritors. I'll stay silent. Just give me a random reason. The more unconvincing it is, the more Long Zai and the others will believe me. Overwhelming 4Cs had a knife hidden in his smile. His smile was chilling. Sure enough, on the second day, something shocking happened in the Six Gods Tao sect. The Time Inheritor and the Six Gods Tao sect actually fought. Qing Sihai was injured and fled, and the Time Inheritor's first direct disciple was detained by the Six Gods Tao sect. The reason was that Qing Sihai was eager to save his daughter and wanted to compromise with Yi Qinghan and the others, which infuriated the Six Gods Tao sect. However, Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong had been speaking up for Qing Sihai to the outside world, saying that he loved his daughter dearly. This was just a misunderstanding, so there was no need for everyone to be suspicious. After Qing Fenghai escaped from the Six Gods Tao sect, he quickly disappeared and did not appear to speak. Only Ghost Taoist Flowing Void was explaining to the outside world. Many people suspected that the enormous Six Gods Tao sect would actually have internal strife because of saving someone. Yi Qinghan and the others, who were far away in Suang City, learned that the Six Gods Tao sect's lineage had actually fought with the main sect. Even Qing Sihai had been injured and their chief disciple had been detained. Could it be that when Martial Uncle Qing found out that Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong was the one who killed Grandpa, he couldn't hold back and went to question him, resulting in a fight? Long Zai followed the normal reasoning and asked in doubt. It must be like that. Woo-woo, father's whereabouts are unknown. Could Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong have? Qin Yen Fei immediately burst into tears. Yi Qinghan frowned and said coldly, "Shut up." Qin Yen Fei immediately lost her voice and did not dare to cry anymore. She looked at Yi Qinghan in fear. Yi Qinghan did not think that this matter would be like that. A person who could inherit a law would definitely not be so impulsive. If one were to think from another person's perspective, it would be very easy to find a flaw. If you were the Time Inheritor and you knew that Ghost Taoist Flowing Kong had killed your master, would you immediately go to question him and start a fight without any evidence? Yi Qinghan looked at Long Zai and asked indifferently. Long Zai thought for a moment and nodded. It's possible. You're not allowed to doubt my father. My father has always been respected and fair. He's a good person. The entire divine sect respects him. You can insult me, but you can't insult my father. Qin Yen Fei roared. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. He did not understand Qin Yen Fei, so he could not be sure if the situation was as it seemed. Let's contact Martial Uncle Qing. As long as we meet him, we'll know. Long Zai suggested. Wait, let me think about it. Yi Qinghan said solemnly. At this moment, in a battle of wits and courage, Victory and defeat were decided with a single thought from Yi Qinghan. Logically speaking, it was obvious that Long Zai was right. Qin Yanfei trusted her father enough. The real reason why Shuoyang was detained by ghost Taoist Flowing Kong was self-evident. It's not that I'm insulting your father, but if I trust someone else, we'll both lose our lives. I won't put my life in someone else's hands. It doesn't matter if he's a good person or a bad person. It has nothing to do with me. However, there are 2 points that I don't understand. Yi Qinghan said coldly. What 2 points? Long Zai asked doubtfully. First, he's a master god who controls a law inheritance. He shouldn't be so impulsive. However, he did something so impulsive. He really lacks intelligence. Second, if he was as impulsive as he appeared to be, why didn't he continue to be impulsive and come out to prove that ghost Taoist Flowing Kong was the murderer? However, he didn't do that. Could it be that he grew brains and matured after his first loss? Yi Qinghan asked. This. Long Zai hesitated. His seemingly flawless reasoning had been found by Yi Qinghan. For a moment, he didn't know whether he should trust Qin Yanfei or not. Emperor Yi Zixian and the others nodded. They felt that Yi Qinghan's question was very reasonable. A smart person wouldn't do something so stupid. Since he did it, he must have a motive. My father was raised by the ancestor. It's normal for him to not be able to control himself when he found out about the murderer. You can't say that he's stupid. It only shows that he's a righteous person. Qin Yanfei retorted angrily. Since he's a righteous person, why hasn't he come out to testify yet? Once he does, we'll take advantage of the situation and cooperate with him. Our chances of defeating ghost Taoist Flowing Kong will be very high. Yi Qinghan asked. Qin Yanfei was instantly speechless. Therefore, we have to prepare for 2 aspects of this matter. If there's no problem with your father, then that's naturally the best. If there's a problem, then we can beat him at his own game. It seems that if we can't defeat the Killing God Dao sect and the 6 Gods Dao sect, then I won't be able to leave the upper planes. Yi Qinghan laughed evilly. When it came to a battle of wits and courage, he had never been afraid of anyone. Chapter 869. In the Dragonline Plain, killing intent filled the air. Every city was searching for the whereabouts of Yi Qinghan and the others. Qing 4Cs, who was in hiding, had been waiting for Yi Qinghan's message. However, 3 days had passed and Yi Qinghan still hadn't contacted him. Looks like this kid is very vigilant. He's not easy to deal with. Qing 4Cs muttered to himself. On the 4th day, Yi Qinghan finally sent a message. The 2 of them crossed space and appeared in front of each other. It was equivalent to a face-to-face conversation. Dao friend Qing, I've made you wait. Are you all right? Yi Qinghan stared at the mirror in front of him and asked calmly. I'm fine. I only exchanged blows with ghost Taoist Flowing Void for a short time. Qing 4Cs was incomparably dignified. Overwhelming righteousness rushed out of his body. Such an existence gave people a sense of trust. If Yi Qinghan wasn't so careful, people would also believe him. Qing 4C's words didn't have any flaws. However, to Yi Qinghan there was a huge flaw. If Qing 4C's really impulsively questioned ghost Taoist Flowing Void because of his loyalty, how could he retreat after a simple exchange? It didn't make sense. Yi Qinghan smiled and said frankly, I don't trust you. That's why I contacted you so late. Even now, I still don't trust you. However, it doesn't hinder our cooperation. My master only has 1 son left. If it was me, I would also be very vigilant. You've done very well. This seat doesn't blame you. However, I hope to talk to Ziyi personally. This is our family's matter. Dao friend, please let us deal with it. Qing 4Cs said seriously. Ziyi is my woman. I have the responsibility and obligation to help her deal with anything, including this matter. If you really want to avenge your master, protect this child, and let Qin Yan Fei live well, then you have to listen to me. This seat has always been a villain before a gentleman. Yi Qinghan said coldly. Qin 4Cs frowned. He couldn't understand what Yi Qinghan was trying to do. The time law boundary steel is in your hands, right? It will never leave the time inheritor's side. It's useless even if you deny it. Yi Qinghan said calmly. 4Cs looked at Yi Qinghan in shock and thought to himself, what is this kid trying to do? Don't you want to undo the seal on that child as soon as possible? Give the law boundary stone to Yi Zai, and we will undo the child's seal. Once the child's seal is undone, we can work together. After all, if we want to overthrow Flowing Sky Ghost Taoist, we will need your cooperation, Yi Qinghan said honestly. No. The law of time boundary stone has never been passed down to outsiders. This is an ancestral rule. Even if you kill Xiaofei, I will not give it to you. Overwhelming Seas rejected Yi Qinghan's suggestion without hesitation. Since we can't continue working together, I'll satisfy you, Yi Qinghan said coldly. 4Cs looked at Yi Qinghan's cold eyes and immediately said, wait, what are you trying to do? I am Master's direct disciple. No one wants to take revenge for Master more than me. You can doubt me, but you can't do something that will make your enemies happy. Since you respect your Master so much, why can't the law of time boundary stone let Yi Zai cultivate and undo the seal on his only son? Everything is just an excuse. It shows that you don't care about your Master. Why should I believe you? Yi Qinghan asked coldly. Master has given strict orders. The law boundary stone is only for males and not females. It is only for internal members and not for external members. Stop talking nonsense with me. Qin Yan Fei tried to comprehend the law of time boundary stone but failed. I have no interest in bargaining with you. If you want me to believe you, at least show me some sincerity. Otherwise, I will not work with you in the future. Yi Qinghan interrupted 4C's words coldly. 4C's did not expect Yi Qinghan to be so difficult to deal with. He did not even allow him to communicate with Long Zai. He could not even play the emotional card. Also, the one who comprehended the law of time is Long Zai, not me. She comprehended the law boundary stone to save your master's child. You are using the excuse that the law boundary stone is only for males and not females to brush me off. Are you treating me like a 3-year-old child? Yi Qinghan sneered. 4Cs went silent. It seemed that if he wanted to find out Yi Qinghan's location, he would not be able to do so without putting in a lot of effort. Where are you? I will personally hand the boundary stone to Yi Zai, 4Cs said solemnly. No need. You can send the boundary stone to Qianxi City. Someone will naturally come and retrieve it. After seeing the real boundary stone, I will naturally tell you our specific location, Yi Qinghan smiled. Are you crazy? The God-slaying paths people are looking for you everywhere. Aren't you just walking into a trap by putting the location in Qianxi City? 4Cs angrily questioned. The most dangerous place is the safest place. You are the only one who knows that I am going to Qianxi City. If the God-slaying paths people know that I am in Qianxi City, then it can only mean one thing. You sold me out. The rest will be up to us to take revenge. I will let the world appreciate and taste your daughter. Yi Qinghan cruelly smiled. 4Cs took a deep breath and angrily glared at Yi Qinghan. He felt like he was not dealing with a young man, but a demon that had lived for hundreds of thousands of years. I want to say something to Yi Zai. At the very least, I want to make sure that you are not the one threatening her. 4Cs said through gritted teeth. Yi Qinghan was in his room. Long Zai and the others were anxiously waiting by the side. Until now, they had not found anything wrong with 4Cs. Long Zai felt that it was strange for Yi Qinghan to speak to him in such a manner. He was afraid that he would offend this martial uncle. Yi Qinghan gently waved his hand and called Long Zai over. Long Zai bowed and said, "Martial uncle, my father is Long Jingtian. Child, are you really still alive?" Martial uncle does not know. Otherwise, I would have brought you back to the Six Gods Tao sect long ago. It has been hard on you all these years. 4C's disguise was very good. At this moment, he was crying. The emotions contained in his voice did not seem fake. Long Zai's nose turned sour. He understood the pain he had suffered all these years. However, it was all in the past. Moreover, he was an overgod. He quickly controlled his emotions. "Martial uncle, it is not that I doubt you. It is just that I cannot afford to gamble. This is my only family member. I need to personally remove the seal for him. If you hand the time law boundary steel to me, everyone will believe you. They will naturally gather with you." Long Zai said helplessly, "All right, but you must not hurt my daughter. She is very innocent." Her words were inappropriate. As her elder sister, you must not be calculative with her. 3 days later, tell Yi Qinghan to come to Qianxi City to retrieve the time law boundary steel. 4C said dejectedly. With that, Yi Qinghan ended the call and kept the communication talisman. He said in a low voice, "You all stay in the city for the next few days. Try not to go out. I will go retrieve the boundary steel. Whether 4C's is trustworthy or not, we will know after a test." Chapter 870. If I die in Qianxi City, I will let Qing Si Hai live in regret for the rest of his life. Yi Qinghan looked at Emperor Yi and said solemnly, "Don't worry, if he dares to betray you, I will let all the men in the world have a taste of her." Emperor Yi looked at Qin Yanfei and took the initiative to throw her a communication talisman. It was a one-way communication talisman and could only be connected to the one in Qing Si Hai's hand. Yi Qinghan nodded and quietly left Suheng City. He traveled day and night, tearing through the void. His master god-level soul allowed him to travel 100 times faster. He drew a long arc in the silent void and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. For 3 days and 3 nights, Yi Qinghan did not sleep or rest. He passed by the ruins of the Dragon Gate Inn and headed straight for Qianxi City. In Qianxi City, Qing Si Hai was also in a dilemma. Should he inform the people of the god-killing path? Once Yi Qinghan was killed, Long Zai and the others would definitely be on guard. It would be impossible to gain their trust. Let go of the long line to catch the big fish? But this guy is too hard to deal with, otherwise Long Zai would definitely trust me. He will spoil my plans. Qing Si Hai was pacing back and forth in a room of an inn. However, at this moment, Qin Yanfei sent a message. Seeing Qin Yanfei's pitiful appearance and complaints, Qing Si Hai could not help but feel angry. "Father, they said that if Yi Qinghan dies in Qianxi City, they will strip me naked and give me to the men of the slums to play with. What? Come and save me!" Qin Yanfei wailed. Her face was purple from fright. "Humph! Let Long Zai talk to me." Qing Si Hai was furious. However, Long Zai did not appear, but Emperor Yi did. "Let me introduce myself, I am Yi Qinghan's wife. We only wanted to scare her and remind you that if you are not guilty, we will treat Qin Yanfei well. I hope you understand." Emperor Yi calmly reminded. Qing Si Hai was furious and immediately cut off the communication talisman. "Damn it! This Yi Qinghan is seeking death." Qing Si Hai roared, wanting to crush Yi Qinghan. On the 4th day, Yi Qinghan appeared in Qianxi City. Qianxi City's defenses were lax, and no one would believe that Yi Qinghan would take the initiative to come to Ling Tian's territory. He swaggered into the city and chose an inn. Once again, he contacted 4C's. "Go to the street in front of the Monarch's Descent Inn. I'll send you a message when I see you." Yi Qinghan said emotionlessly and cut off the transmission. Qing Si Hai was led by the nose by Yi Qinghan, but there was nothing he could do. The inn that Yi Qinghan was staying at was clearly not the monarch's descent inn, but rather the small inn across the street, the Pleasant Descent Inn. At this moment, he was standing by the window on the third floor, overlooking the street. The entire street was under his control. Qing Si Hai quickly arrived at this street. Yi Qinghan stared at him and looked around. Seeing that no one was following him, he sent a message to Qing Si Hai, "Go to the Monarch's Descent Inn and book a room on the third floor near the street. Then, open the window and I will appear in front of you." Yi Qinghan was extremely careful. This was a gamble with his life. If he was not careful, he would lose his life in Qianxi City. If he was stopped by Ling Tian, his life would be worthless. He did not dare to believe Qing Si Hai. Even if he had Qing Yanfei in his hands, in his eyes, Qing Yanfei's 10 lives were more than his one. Qing Si Hai was depressed. Even now, he did not know where Yi Qinghan was hiding. He could only follow his instructions. After entering the Monarch's Descent Inn, Qing Si Hai chose a private room that was right across from Yi Qinghan. They were only separated by a street. He gently opened the curtains, but Yi Qinghan did not appear. He could not help but reveal a look of anger. However, Yi Qinghan saw through him clearly. The angrier Qing Si Hai was, the more he liked it. Place the boundary stone on the table. When we are on the street, I will tell you my real location. Yi Qinghan concealed his aura behind the curtains as if he did not exist. Qing Si Hai scanned the opposite side but did not find any trace of Yi Qinghan. This feeling of being controlled made him burn with anger. If you truly want revenge, then listen to me. Right now I lack trust in you. You have to give me this trust. Only then can we cooperate, isn't that right? Yi Qinghan smiled and continued to transmit his voice. However, he did not reveal his identity. Qing Si Hai's face was filled with impatience as he clutched the top-grade universe ring. The law boundary stone was extremely important. How could he just leave it on the table like this? Just this universe ring alone was priceless. You can prove to me that my thoughts are superfluous. In the future, I will kneel down and apologize. However, the premise is that you are right and I am wrong. I have always cheated people to get to where I am, so I always judge others by my own standard. You have to understand. Yi Qinghan indifferently transmitted his voice. Qing Si Hai was helpless. In order to lure out this big fish, he could only place the ring on the table. Give up the ownership. I need this ring in an ownerless state. If you don't do as I say, our cooperation will end here. Moreover, we will be enemies. Yi Qinghan coldly warned. Qing Si Hai clenched his fists and took a deep breath. He released the contract on the ring and slowly left the room. However, his divine sense was firmly fixed on the ring on the third floor. He did not dare to be careless. Yi Qinghan made a grabbing motion in the air and took the universe ring away. His figure flickered as he left the inn. By the time Qing Si Hai discovered him, he had already rushed back to his room. Unfortunately, it was already too late. Yi Qinghan took the ring and directly dripped his blood to bind it. He discovered that the time law boundary steel was indeed inside. He could not help but smile and return the way he came. Just as he left the city gate, Qing Si Hai took the initiative to send a message. Yi Qinghan's figure flashed and appeared in the distance. He accepted the message and Qing Si Hai's dignified face appeared on the screen. I am sincerely taking revenge for my master. You cannot trust me, but don't play with me. Qing Si Hai coldly said. Dao friend, don't be angry. If we leave together, it will only cause misunderstandings. I will leave first and we will meet at the Dragon Gate Inn. How about it? Yi Qinghan was not willing to anger Qing Si Hai. After all, if he was a friend, angering him like this might make him an enemy. Seeing Yi Qinghan give in, Qing Si Hai's expression became slightly better. Yi Qinghan did not know if he should trust this person. On the surface, Qing Si Hai did not show any flaws, but deep down, he suspected that there was something fishy about him. Not far from the city there was a small mountain. Yi Qinghan's playful heart was aroused and he directly flattened the small mountain, erecting a regular stone tablet. On top of it, he carved a few large words in flamboyant calligraphy. Yi Qinghan was here. Already out of the city, I won't see you off. After carving the words, Yi Qinghan left the scene in satisfaction. However, he did not know that this row of words had caused a huge commotion. In less than an hour, this stone tablet was discovered by a group of wandering rogue cultivators. They were stunned on the spot. In the end, hundreds of experts gathered and discussed spiritedly. The news of Yi Qinghan running to Qianxi City to provoke the god-killing sect spread like wildfire. It spread from Qianxi City to every corner of the Dragonline Plain. Ling Tian personally arrived outside the city. His face was green with anger. This was not just a provocation. It was basically telling the god-killing sect, I ran to your backyard. Come and hit me. Boom. Ling Tian smashed the stone tablet with a palm strike. He raised his head and roared. His iron hands clenched into soft clothes. The coldness in his eyes could kill. Yi Qinghan, you want to play with me? Then I'll play with you. Let's see who wins. Ling Tian roared. His face under the mask was distorted. Qing Si Hai left the city and saw everything with his own eyes. He trembled and thought to himself, this Yi Qinghan's ability to anger people is not small. His thoughts are meticulous, and yet he did such a thing. This is obviously a provocation. Yi Qinghan disguised himself as a burly man. Everywhere he went, many people would talk about him provoking the god-killing sect. He could not help but smile and think to himself, this is just the appetizer. Yi Qinghan increased his speed. He did not go to the Dragon Gate Inn. Instead, he rushed towards Baiguang City. Chapter 871. Qing 4 Seas arrived at the ruins of the Dragon Gate Inn. Looking at the collapsed sacred realm, which was covered in blood, a strange light flashed through his eyes. He sighed sadly. Master, you are too rigid. You don't want to break through after reaching the Overgod realm. You only want to govern the city and take care of these incompetent ants. Please forgive your disciple. If there is a day when I can break through eternity and return to the past, I will definitely save you to make up for your kindness in raising me. However, your child must die. Otherwise, my reputation will be ruined and the Six Gods Dao sect will also vanish. Qing 4 Seas muttered to himself with a pained expression. Qing 4 Seas sat cross-legged in the Dragon Gate Inn and waited for Yi Qinghan for 6 hours. However, there was still no sign of him. He couldn't help but frown. This bastard didn't trick me again, right? Qing 4 Seas frowned and muttered to himself angrily. After waiting for half a day, the sky turned dark. Qing 4 Seas couldn't help but send a message to Yi Qinghan. At this moment, Yi Qinghan had already arrived at Baiguang City and entered an inn. Before he could sit down, Qing 4 Seas' message had already arrived. Whoosh, Yi Qinghan swiped the void and accepted the message. Looking at Qing 4 Seas' angry expression, he spouted nonsense. I am being followed. I don't want to implicate you, so I took a detour to Baiguang City. Come to Baiguang City to find me. I will tell you the exact location when you arrive. Are you playing with me? Qing 4 Seas asked furiously. Absolutely not. I was discovered by the people of the Godslayer Dao. If I brought them to the Dragon Gate Inn, wouldn't you be implicated as well? How can I bear to do that? Yi Qinghan said with a serious expression. Qing 4 Seas was helpless. His killing intent towards Yi Qinghan had already reached its peak. He wanted nothing more than to crush him into pieces. I hope to see you in Baiguang City. If you dare to play with me again, don't blame me for being impolite. Qing 4 Seas said coldly. Yi Qinghan smiled calmly and nodded. Don't worry, fellow Taoist. We are on the same side. I had no choice but to change my route. In the end, the two cut off contact. Qing Si Hai wasn't sure if Yi Qinghan was in Baiguang City. He was afraid that Yi Qinghan was tricking him. Otherwise, he would really contact people from the god-killing path to kill Yi Qinghan. This was because Yi Qinghan was indeed too difficult to deal with. Yi Qinghan set up an array formation and built the room tightly. Not even the slightest bit of aura could rush out. Then, he took out the Time Law Boundary Stone. It was much smaller than the Great Tao Boundary Stone, but the words engraved on it were still the words of the Chaos Giant God. They were difficult to understand, and runic light constantly flashed and flowed. Since he had even comprehended the boundary steel of the Great Path, time laws of nature were naturally not a problem. Moreover, his soul was already at Lord level. Yi Qinghan placed the boundary stone on the table and sat cross-legged on the bed to comprehend the boundary stone. The first divine technique he comprehended was naturally the time-eternity technique. He didn't trust anyone. If he wanted to save that child, he naturally had to do it himself. The words on the boundary stone swam like tadpoles. They were guided by Yi Qinghan and rushed into his sea of consciousness. His powerful soul was able to comprehend the boundary stone with ease. Yi Qinghan himself knew a little about the mysteries of time. The few large frames constructed by the boundary stone were very simple and clear. The rest depended on the cultivator's own comprehension and extension. In this aspect, Yi Qinghan was the best. As time passed, the theory of the time-eternity technique was thoroughly understood. The time-eternity technique used the mysteries of time laws to completely seal the time in a space. Time would not flow. It was just like the underground sacred realm under the Dragon Gate Inn. The child had been in that space for nearly 10,000 years, but it was like a single night. Similarly, the time-eternity technique could not only seal a space, but it could also seal a person. It could cause the person's physical body and physiological functions to be in a completely static state. It could almost reach the realm of immortality. It was just that there would be no thoughts or life fluctuations. If one wanted to cultivate the time-eternity technique well, they had to completely grasp the mysteries of time. The time-eternity technique was the most difficult part of the mysteries of time laws. It could be used to attack, save, and kill without leaving a trace. Yi Qinghan gave up on comprehending the time-eternity technique first. He began to gradually comprehend the mysteries of time. As time passed, the time around Yi Qinghan appeared to be stagnant. Sometimes it would accelerate. The time in the guest room began to move at an extreme speed. It had only been an hour outside, but half a month had passed in the room. Overwhelming ocean descended outside Baiguang City overnight. The city gates were sealed shut, and the defensive formation formed a barrier of nothingness that enveloped the enormous city. Meanwhile, there were many exalted gods and half-step lords walking back and forth on the city walls, patrolling the area. It was not very realistic for lords to enter the city quietly. However, there was a flash in Qing Si Hai's eyes, and the time rule in the vicinity began to become chaotic. An instant later, heaven and earth were dead silent. It was completely still. The powerhouses on the city walls stood where they were. They did not move at all, as if they had been imprisoned. Qing Si Hai snorted coldly and soared into the sky. He appeared on the city walls. It was unrealistic for the barrier to stop him. Even if he did not attack forcefully, he could slowly penetrate the barrier. Qing Si Hai broke through the barrier and disappeared into the streets in a flash. No one was controlling the time rule arcane nearby, so it disappeared without a trace. The half-step lords did not think anything was wrong. It was as if it had been like this a second ago. No powerhouses had invaded at all. They continued to patrol the area. Yi Qinghan was still devouring the arcane on the time rule boundary steel hungrily in his room. Until now, He had only comprehended 10% of the arcane when the communication talisman at his waist suddenly lit up. As soon as he saw that it was Qing Si-hai, Yi Qinghan's lips curled into a smile. He knew that he could not avoid him any longer, so he put away the boundary steel and told Qing Si-hai his exact location. Qing Si-hai's figure flickered. A moment later, he appeared on the street where Yi Qinghan's inn was. The night was enchanting and the city was quiet. The moonlight poured down, casting Qing Si-hai's figure on the street. It grew longer and longer. Yi Qinghan observed carefully through the window. After confirming that there was no one around, he took the initiative to show himself and wave his hand. Qing Si-hai flew into the air and appeared before Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan turned around and allowed him to enter the room. "Do you trust me now?" Qing Si-hai asked coldly. At this moment, he appeared a little angry. Only then would Yi Qinghan feel that he was not guilty. Yi Qinghan smiled faintly and said, "Dao friend Qing Si, there is no need to be angry. If you were to take care of the child now, I believe that you would also be very careful. You wouldn't even want others to interfere with the child's protection, right?" Qing Si-hai still wanted to find some reason to flip out. However, he was rendered speechless by Yi Qinghan's words. He was unable to refute. If he refuted, it would be the same as telling Yi Qinghan that he did not care about the child's life. "Where are Zai and the child? We should hurry and gather. We should try to wake the child up as soon as possible and find out the truth." Qing Si-hai went straight to the point and asked solemnly. Yi Qinghan's brows twitched. Clearly, he could not tell the location of Long Zai and the others. Not even Qing Si-hai. "You still don't trust this seat? Master God Flowing Light is my master. That child is his youngest son and also my younger brother. Zai is my niece. If you don't even trust me, then who else in the world can?" Qing Si-hai questioned furiously. Yi Qinghan shrugged and said indifferently, "Sorry, I was too sensitive. They are in Violet Light City." Clearly, Yi Qinghan still did not trust Qing Si-hai. Thus, he casually gave a fake location. Chapter 872. Yi Qinghan gave a fake address and told Qing Si-hai that the room next door was also booked by him. He told Qing Si-hai to rest there for a day and continue their journey tomorrow morning. Qing Si-hai nodded and went to the room next door. He closed the door and set up an array. Then, he took out a message talisman and contacted Ghost Daoist Flowing Void. "Martial Uncle, we have already contacted Yi Qinghan. However, this person is too vigilant and doesn't trust me too much. He is not easy to deal with. Now we have found out that Long Zai is in Violet Light City, but we don't know if it is true or not. We will act separately. I will pin down Yi Qinghan while you contact the God-killing Dao and secretly investigate Violet Light City. Once Long Zai is indeed in Violet Light City, we will kill him and then I will kill Yi Qinghan." Ghost Daoist Flowing Void nodded and said in a low voice, "We will not alert the enemy. Don't worry and keep an eye on Yi Qinghan. Delay him for 3 to 5 days. I will find out if Long Zai is in Violet Light City or not." Yi Qinghan looked at the sky and saw that it was almost dawn. He stopped cultivating. At this moment, he didn't know that his careful actions had saved the lives of Emperor Yi, Long Zai, and the others. After resting for 4 hours, Yi Qinghan stood up and found that Qing Si-hai still hadn't stood up. He couldn't help but frown. Logically speaking, Qing Si-hai should be more anxious than him to see Long Zai. He returned to his room and continued to cultivate. After cultivating for 2 hours, Qing Si-hai knocked on the door. Yi Qinghan didn't ask and followed him to the first floor. They had a simple meal and left Baiguang City. Along the way, Qing Si-hai pretended to be generous and gave Yi Qinghan pointers. Yi Qinghan pretended to be grateful and occasionally threw out questions that had puzzled him for a long time. It was really helpful. In order to gain Yi Qinghan's trust, Qing Sihai spared no effort to help Yi Qinghan. In just one day, Yi Qinghan improved so quickly that Qing Sihai couldn't help but exclaim in admiration. He was a cultivation genius, for Seas was stalling for time without a trace. He took the initiative to suggest staying in the mountain range, so that Yi Qinghan could fully understand the mysteries of the discussion during the day. Yi Qinghan felt more and more that something was wrong. Qing Sihai was a little too good. He didn't care about the safety of the child and Long Zai at all. Instead, he was focused on his own cultivation. She was secretly on guard, but she did not refute his words. Instead, she went along with his intentions. The two of them casually found a place to cultivate in the valley. Ferocious beasts ran rampant, but none of them dared to provoke these two existences. The night passed peacefully. As for Violet Light City, there were already a large number of experts investigating in the dark, investigating some inns and nearby residential areas. They didn't even let go of any blind spots, conducting a thorough search. The Killing God sect and ghost Taoist Flowing Kong personally headed to Violet Light City. Even Ling Tian was present. Ling Tian hated Yi Qinghan to the bone. The stone tablet that Yi Qinghan left behind outside Qianxi City had pushed him to the heart of the struggle. If he didn't dig out Yi Qinghan and eliminate him now, the headquarters of the Killing God sect would probably reprimand him. The city lord of Violet Light City had no choice but to cooperate with ghost Taoist Flowing Kong to search the city. However, he didn't dare to make a big fuss, and everything happened silently. 3 days later, ghost Taoist Flowing Kong almost turned the entire Violet Light City upside down. However, he still couldn't find any traces of Long Zai and the others. He couldn't help but fly into a rage. When Qing Sihai received the news that he had been tricked by Yi Qinghan, his heart burned with rage. He couldn't tolerate it, but he couldn't voice out his doubts or forcefully suppress it. He could only endure it in silence. Damn it, this seat has never suffered such humiliation in my life. I don't believe that I can't deal with you. Overturning the 4 Cs roared furiously in his heart. Yi Qinghan made use of the time to cultivate. Qing Sihai was stalling for time, but he wanted to stall for time even more. After rushing for 3 days, the route started to deviate. Qing Sihai pretended to not know and asked curiously, "This doesn't seem to be the route to Violet Light City. This is the route to Su Heng City and Dongfang City. Did you take the wrong path?" Yi Qinghan suddenly let out an ayah and slapped his head. He then laughed bitterly. 2 days ago, Zai suddenly sent me a message telling me that they had moved to Dongfang City. At that time, I was cultivating and wanted to tell you. However, I forgot about it and thought that I had already informed you. This feeling was as though he was saying, "I already told you in my heart, but you didn't hear it. How can you blame me?" The corners of Qing Sihai's mouth twitched as he clenched his fist. He couldn't help but want to slap Yi Qinghan to the ground and torture him. Qing Sihai's anger could no longer be suppressed. However, he had no choice but to cooperate with Yi Qinghan and pretend to be indifferent. "It's fine. Light City is in front. When we reach Light City, we will rest for a day. Tomorrow morning, we will speed up and try to meet up with them in a day," Qing Sihai said in a low voice. "That's good too," Yi Qinghan agreed. That day, in the afternoon, Yi Qinghan and Qing Sihai arrived at Light City and checked into an inn. Qing Sihai then contacted Ghost Taoist Flowing Void again. "Our target is Dongfang City. However, Su Heng City is also possible. Don't let them go. Investigate them one by one. We will reach our destination tomorrow night." Qing Sihai sent a message before keeping the communication talisman. He then went to a private room with Yi Qinghan and ordered a table of food and wine. Qing Sihai continuously tried to fish out Long Zai's real location. Yi Qinghan hesitated for a while. Looking at Qing Sihai's serious face, he smiled bitterly. "Dao friend Qing, If I say that Zai and the others are in Divine Dragon County, will you be angry with me? Qing Si Hai's body trembled. Divine Dragon County was behind Dongfang City. Divine Dragon County, Dongfang City and Light City were connected in a straight line. If Long Zai was in Divine Dragon County, wouldn't Ghost Taoist Flowing Void miss them? Did this bastard find out about my background? Why isn't there a single word of truth? Qing Si Hai roared in his heart. A hint of impatience flashed across his eyes as he said solemnly, "Which city are they in? After being together for so long, if you are still playing with me, then our cooperation will end here. I will treat it as if I don't have a niece like Zai." Yi Qinghan knew that Qing Si Hai was truly angry. Thus, he remained silent. "Answer me." Qing Si Hai was so angry that he almost flipped the table. "Ai Dao friend, don't be angry. We will reach our destination in at most 2 days and 2 nights. When we see Zai, you will understand everything." Yi Qinghan sighed. As expected, Yi Qinghan still did not tell Qing Si Hai the real location. However, Ghost Taoist Flowing Void had already separated from Killing God Dao. Killing God Dao was searching Dongfang City, while he was personally searching Suang City. Suang City was in a state of panic. Killing intent filled the air. There were many more soldiers in the city. On the surface, it was a routine inspection. However, Emperor Yi and the rest were on their guard. Emperor Yi and Dong Qin disguised themselves as ordinary girls. They came to the restaurant below and heard the discussions of others. Some people were talking about how Yi Qinghan went to Qianxi City to provoke them and even took the initiative to carve a stone stele to expose himself. Some people were talking about how many cities were being inspected these few days, as if they were searching for someone. The fact that the nearby cities were being inspected meant that the Killing God Dao and Six Gods Dao sect did not know that they were in Suang City. Emperor Yi could not help but heave a sigh of relief. The inn had become the focus of the army's investigation. The guest list was taken away by the army and checked one by one. As they got closer to the inn that Emperor Yi and the rest were staying at, Emperor Yi realized the seriousness of the matter. He and Dong Qin looked at each other and quietly returned to the room. Ghost Taoist Flowing Void and Suang City's city lord looked down on everyone. They controlled the entire city. Once they found a target, they would not be able to escape. Chapter 873. Emperor Yi and the others were extremely anxious. It was already too late for them to leave now. Once they found this inn, it would be like catching a turtle in a jar. Hua hua hua, a large group of soldiers surrounded the inn. Their movements were uniform and they did not make any noise. They only asked the innkeeper for a guest list. Everything that happened in the past half a month was retrieved. Other than waiting, there seemed to be no other way. The leader of the army ordered more than 10 officers to go through the dossier together. If anyone managed to find any names of Yi Qinghan and the others, or found any flaws, they would be rewarded handsomely, allowing an ordinary family to instantly become a powerful aristocratic family. These people looked through the files very carefully. At this moment, Qing Si Hai sent another message. Ghost Taoist Flowing Void frowned as he looked at the message talisman. There was a small line of words on it. Target and Divine Dragon County. Bastard, you can't even do such a small thing. Searching such a big city would take 2 days. In just a few days, you actually gave me a few cities as targets. Ghost Taoist Flowing Void was so angry that he almost crushed the message talisman. This feeling was like the wolf had come. Ghost Taoist Flowing Void did not believe that there were more targets. Tell me the location of the real targets. Don't use these suspicious targets to make me make a big fuss. If they are alarmed, where will I find them in the future? Ghost Taoist Flowing Void sent a reply to Qing Si Hai. Then, he said to Su Hang City Lord, give up on the mission. Order the army to retreat. No one is allowed to talk about it. City Lord Su Kuan frowned. The mission was not even half completed. Why did it end so hastily? However, since Ghost Taoist Flowing Void announced that the mission had ended, he would not cause trouble for no reason. Thus, he ordered the army to retreat. The army that searched the inn that Emperor Yi and the others stayed in had already flipped through more than half of the files. However, they did not find the names of Yi Qinghan and the others. There were also no suspicious targets that were staying in the same inn. After receiving the order to end the mission, they began to retreat. Emperor Yi, Long Zai, and the others were curious. Why did these people suddenly retreat? Could it be that he didn't find any traces of them? The owner of the inn was a white-haired old man. When he saw the army leave, he could not help but let out a breath of foul air. He clutched the records as he broke out in cold sweat. Only he knew that there was a problem with the records. When Yi Qinghan and the others had checked in, they had not written down their real names. They had even given him 100,000 high-grade divine crystals to replace the servants, so the servants had no idea that there was such a group of people in the inn. Only the owner knew. The innkeeper didn't dare to offend Yi Qinghan. If he could help Yi Qinghan hide his identity, he would be able to obtain countless deity crystals, so why not? If sovereigns were to fight within the city, the ones to suffer would be the commoners. Therefore, the whereabouts of Emperor Yi and the others were not exposed. Yi Qinghan did not know that Emperor Yi and the others had almost encountered a calamity. Along the way, he cultivated the profound mysteries of the time law. Whenever he encountered a bottleneck, he would ask Qing Sihai about it. Qing Sihai clearly did not expect that Yi Qinghan had comprehended the time law boundary steel. He also did not expect that Yi Qinghan would be able to comprehend it so quickly. Yi Qinghan had already begun to touch upon the late stages and had almost completely comprehended the boundary steel. On the last day, the two arrived at the fork in the road leading to Oriental City and Suang City. Yi Qinghan received a warning from Emperor Yi. Yi Qinghan's heart trembled. He did not know if he should bring Qing Sihai to the real hiding place. If he delayed any longer, he would fall out with Qing Sihai. There was no time to delay. He could not find any fault with Qing Sihai. Although Suang City was searched and the nearby 7 to 8 cities were also investigated, it could only mean that the god-killing Dao and 6 gods Dao sect had started to take action. It had nothing to do with Qing Sihai. After a moment of silence, Yi Qinghan chose to bring Qing Sihai to Suang City. However, before they set off, he still said firmly, "Dao friend, please destroy all of your communication talismans." Qing Sihai was stunned. He asked why. "There is no reason. I just want to eliminate all the unknown dangers. If Dao friend does as I say, I will bring you to see Long Zai now," Yi Qinghan said solemnly. "All right. I have no use for the communication talismans now. I will destroy them." Qing Sihai did not hesitate. In order to find Long Zai's whereabouts, he destroyed the communication talismans in front of everyone. Yi Qinghan then brought Qing Sihai to Suang City. Once the route was set, Qing Sihai knew where Long Zai was hiding. However, he was not very sure. Therefore, he did not sneak attack Yi Qinghan. Qing Sihai could be considered to have witnessed Yi Qinghan's cautiousness. Now, he could only be considered to have found Long Zai's location. The two of them sped through the air as fast as lightning. Taking advantage of the night, the two of them traveled millions of miles. After a day and a night, they appeared outside Suang City. In the darkness before dawn, one could not even see their own fingers. The two of them flew over the city wall and headed straight for the inn. The moment they entered the inn, Qing Sihai saw Long Zai and the child. His face was filled with tears. It was very touching. There was no fault to pick on this sincere feeling. "It has been hard on you all these years." This old man thought that all of you were already. Unexpectedly, the heavens have eyes. 2 of you are still alive. Qing Sihai cried. The tears at the corner of his eyes could not be faked. Long Zai immediately dropped his guard against Qing Sihai. He said, "Martial uncle, is this child my uncle? What is his name?" "His nickname is Long Quan. He is master's youngest son. He is only 9 years old. I will help him break the seal first. You guys protect me." Qing Sihai stared at Long Quan and said in a deep voice. Yi Qinghan's fingertips moved. He was a little worried. If Qing Sihai wanted to kill Long Quan, it would only take a moment. Moreover, there would be no flaws. Wait. There is no hurry to break the seal. The most important thing now is to leave this place and find a place where the 6 gods Dao sect and the god-killing Dao sect have the weakest forces as our base. Yi Qinghan stopped Qing Sihai and said indifferently. Qing Sihai was very dissatisfied with Yi Qinghan. This bastard had played with him all the way. Until now, he was still worried about him. How insecure was he? How distrustful was he? I am his senior brother. I have the responsibility to protect him. I also have the responsibility to take revenge for Master. You have repeatedly stopped me from reuniting with Zai and the others. What are your intentions? Qing Sihai asked coldly. Long Zai also felt that there was no problem with Qing Sihai. At this moment, it was a little too much to be on guard against him. Qinghan, let's break the seal first so that we can know the truth. I want to know if the mastermind behind the massacre of Flower Sea City was Flowing Void Ghost Daoist. Other than him, who else was involved? Long Zai urgently wanted to know the truth. He was the first to agree with Qing Sihai's suggestion. Qing Sihai gritted his teeth. If Long Zai was not a master god and could not be killed instantly, he would have already made his move. Now, he could only scan Long Quan's memories to see how much he knew. If he knew too much, he would have to do something to his sea of consciousness so that he would not be able to wake up temporarily. All right then. Yi Qinghan signaled to Emperor Yi. Emperor Yi understood Yi Qinghan's meaning. He came to Qing Yanfei's side with the star saber in his hand. His purpose was obvious. Chapter 874. When the 4 Cs used the eternal time technique, the profound mysteries of time appeared before Yi Qinghan's eyes. When all the profound mysteries of time gathered at this moment, Yi Qinghan did not even blink. In an instant, the time in the inn fell into a state of eternal stagnation. Yi Qinghan's mind felt as though it had been struck by lightning. At this moment, all of his questions were answered. He had comprehended all of the profound mysteries of the laws of time. As long as he had enough time, he would be able to condense the 13th divine spark. Up until now, Yi Qinghan had the most godhoods. The 13 godhoods represented different grand Tao origins and law profound mysteries. No one knew what kind of existence one would be after gathering all the grand Tao origins and law profound mysteries. No one had ever succeeded. There were countless grand Tao, minor Tao, and law. In order to gather all of them, one would need to condense at least 10 godhoods. When all the godhoods simultaneously absorbed divine power, the divinity of the entire plane would be sucked dry. However, Yi Qinghan was still worried about Qing Hai's uncertainty. Therefore, he couldn't focus on condensing the time godhood. Without the corresponding godhood, the power of the time divine technique would be greatly reduced. Everyone looked nervously at Qing Hai and the child. At this moment, Qing Hai was silently observing the child's sea of consciousness. The child's soul was still in a sealed state. He didn't know that someone was spying on his memories. Long Quan's memories only contained memories of ghost Taoist flowing void. He didn't have any memories of Qing Hai. Qing Hai couldn't help but let out a breath of turbid air. He doesn't know that I participated in that massacre. It seems like Master doesn't know that I did something to his food, causing a problem with his time godhood. He can't sense the profound mysteries of time. This way, I will have a chance to deal with him. Qing Hai muttered to himself. He formed seals with his hands, and the profound mysteries of time continuously dissolved the seal on Long Quan's body. As time passed, Long Quan's forehead trembled slightly. He was showing signs of awakening. Long Zai looked on excitedly. He trusted Qing Hai more and more. Yi Qinghan's fingertip moved. Divine power surged within his body. The profound mysteries of time flowed on his fingertip. His eyes were like a wolf's as he stared at Qing Hai's back. And Long Quan's bright eyes slowly opened as he looked around in confusion. Qing Si Hai exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and let go of Long Quan. Just as he turned around, Yi Qinghan's fingers tapped on Qing Si Hai's throat at lightning speed, imprisoning Qing Si Hai's godly power. The profound mysteries of time surged into Qing Si Hai's sea of consciousness, and the eternal time art calmed Qing Si Hai's soul for a moment. At this moment, Yi Qinghan suppressed Qing Si Hai's soul and knocked him unconscious. It was too fast, so fast that even overturned 4Cs couldn't react in time, let alone Long Zai. "What are you doing? You bastard!" Qin Yanfei was shocked and tried to tear Yi Qinghan's clothes, but she did not dare to use her divine power. Long Zai was also rather shocked. Qing Si Hai had already saved Long Quan, which meant that he could be trusted. Why did Yi Qinghan still want to launch a sneak attack? "Fellow Taoist Yi, what are you doing?" If Long Zai didn't know that Yi Qinghan had nothing to do with the destruction of Sea of Flowers City, he would definitely suspect Yi Qinghan's intentions. At this moment, he could only ask in confusion. "It's fine, I want to break through and condense my divine deity. I can only have people that I can trust by my side. Once I condense the time divine deity, I will release his seal." After Yi Qinghan finished speaking, he struck Qing Yanfei's neck with his palm, knocking her unconscious. "But there is no need to launch a sneak attack on Martial Uncle. He will definitely be angry when he wakes up." Long Zai frowned, but he couldn't blame Yi Qinghan. "Whether he is angry or not has nothing to do with me. I only want to ensure our safety." Yi Qinghan coldly replied. "Let's leave Su Hang City first and find a quiet place to break through again. Facing in Master God, I won't just wait for death." After Yi Qinghan finished speaking, he went downstairs to find the innkeeper to help him transport everyone away. The innkeeper didn't dare to offend Yi Qinghan, nor did he want to. Yi Qinghan was too generous, easily giving out 100,000 high-grade god crystals, which was enough for him to earn in 100 years. This time, in order to leave the city, he directly gave out 500,000 god crystals. As long as they spent a few hundred god crystals, they could break through the guards and leave the city quietly. All of this was left to the innkeeper to take care of. The innkeeper went out of the city to purchase, and a few carriages pulled by fierce beasts quickly approached the city gate. Long Zai and the rest hid in the boxes, and only Yi Qinghan and Dong Qin walked not far behind the carriages. The two of them concealed themselves slightly, so it was difficult to recognize them. However, Long Zai and the rest were different. The innkeeper had a good relationship with the guards in the city, and he also knew the leader. He secretly gave more than 1,000 high-grade god crystals, and the guards didn't even check and waved his hand to let them out of the city. Yi Qinghan and Dong Qin looked at each other and sped up to catch up with the carriages, sneaking out of the city. Once out of the city, the carriages sped up and quickly left Su Hang City. In order to thank the innkeeper, Yi Qinghan gave another 100,000 high-grade god crystals. The old man declined, but Yi Qinghan didn't want to owe him a favor, so he forcefully pushed the money to him. When they arrived at a canyon, the carriages stopped. The innkeeper ordered the guards to leave and set up camp in the distance. Yi Qinghan opened the boxes and left quietly with the group. The group flew into the sky and burrowed into the ground, and they were all experts among experts. Without leaving a trace, they rushed into a desolate ancient forest. Qing Si Hai and Qing Yanfei's souls were suppressed and sealed by the eternal time technique, so they couldn't even struggle. Their souls were in a static state, and their lives were in Yi Qinghan's hands. The group flew continuously for 3 days and 3 nights, and they arrived at the Dragon Plains Sky Dragon State's southern wasteland. This was a vast forest and mountain range. Other than the poisonous miasma, there were poisonous creatures running amok, and very few experts would appear here. Yi Qinghan chose this space and asked everyone to guard him while he went into seclusion. He hadn't used the power of faith in his sea of consciousness for a long time, and now it had gathered into an ocean. Now, countless creatures in the endless plains and mythological plains believed in him, and no one could compete with him. His power of faith was enough for him to condense 2 more complete godhoods. Mobilizing the time profound and the power of faith, he started to condense the godhood. The surrounding time law was exceptionally clear, and it would sometimes speed up, sometimes slow down, and sometimes stop the flow. Divine light covered the sky and earth, and the surrounding beasts fled. Roar. The beasts roared furiously, and the goshawk missed. Long Zai was shocked. Looking at Yi Qinghan's condensed temporal godhood, she felt that he was a lunatic who had gone too far. He had actually comprehended a profound mystery of temporal laws in such a short time. She believed that no other genius could do such a thing. However, what Long Zai didn't know was that Yi Qinghan could comprehend it in such a short time because of Qing Si Hai's contribution. In order to gain Yi Qinghan's trust, Qing Si Hai spared no effort to help him. In addition, when Qing Si Hai used the eternal time technique in front of him, none of the profound mysteries could escape his eyes, and he could reverse the flow of divine energy. That was why he could achieve such a high level of accomplishment. Yi Qinghan's divine light flowed through every inch of his skin. It was almost transparent, and the light of treasures soared into the sky. His black hair fluttered without wind, and the time godhood quickly took on a rough shape, spinning in his sea of consciousness. A large amount of power of faith surged and roared, rushing into the godhood and condensing it. The internal space, the stability of the godhood, the patterns of the godhood, and the rapid transfer of divine energy were all important factors that Yi Qinghan used to condense the godhood. The range of the time profound fluctuations grew wider and wider. Within a radius of 10 li, all creatures were frozen. Some of them were imprisoned in midair, completely motionless. Chapter 875. The mysteries of time shot up into the sky. Deathly stillness spread out for thousands of miles. However, the Dragon Line plain was too vast. This bit of ripple was not enough to cause a commotion. The Godhead of Time spent a day and a night before it was finally condensed. Yi Qinghan had the soul of an overgod. The Godhead's power had been exhausted. At this moment, he set up the sky imprisoning energy-gathering formation. The divinity of heaven and earth surged and gathered towards the southern wasteland. Countless top-grade god crystals condensed the spirituality of the southern wasteland into a liquid state. It was almost raining. The moonlight poured down and the stars were dazzling. They converged into a beam of light that drowned the southern wasteland. The Dragon Line Plains' originally pitch-black night was suddenly as bright as day. Yi Qinghan bathed in starlight. The power of the stars was converted into overgod power. It roared and surged, pouring into the 13 godheads. In order to speed up, Emperor Yi stepped into the starlight and transformed into a chaos dragon. The entire southern wasteland fell into a deathly silence. The overgod-level beasts knelt where they were, growling in reverence. They did not dare to move. Boom! A terrifying aura overturned Long Zai and the others and sent them flying. Roar! The dragon swept across thousands of miles, forming a huge whirlpool. A huge amount of divine power poured into Yi Qinghan's body. The giant dragon that Emperor Yi had conjured was also spitting out divine power, which evolved into the power of chaos. Its aura grew stronger and stronger, and its might was vast and mighty. It spread out for hundreds of thousands of miles, and it quickly alarmed some master god cultivators in the realm. The overgods looked at the southern wasteland and felt a terrifying aura. It was like a supreme god. Even the overgods did not dare to recklessly investigate. However, some overgods who were not afraid of death began to get restless. They roped in experts and prepared to go to the southern wasteland to investigate. In the southern wasteland, Yi Qinghan's divine body became terrifying. His bones and veins could be clearly seen. The five elements' body became more and more solid. Even his dragon bloodline was about to be removed. The dragon blood rolled and struggled. It joined forces with the witch bloodline to fight against the five elements' body. Yi Qinghan could not abandon the witch bloodline and the dragon bloodline. At this moment, his soul divided into two. One was preparing to break through while the other was beginning to fuse the five elements' body and the two bloodlines. Boom, boom, boom. Dragon blood surged and divine power flowed. Every inch of his skin was formed by divine power. His heart was like the heart of a dragon. Even the slightest beat was like a thunderclap. Long Zai swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He had never seen such a monstrous genius before. His pupils constricted in shock. Emperor Ye's gigantic draconic body blotted out the sun. He and Yi Qinghan cooperated seamlessly as they soared into the air, forming two heavenly dragons that intertwined with each other. With a soft roar, the draconic roar pierced through the starry river and shattered the ancient forest. Whoosh! Whoosh! Countless amounts of divine qi turned into liquid and surged toward the southern wasteland, almost shattering the space. All of it rushed into Emperor Yi and Yi Qinghan's bodies and transformed them. Emperor Ye's godhood was at the paramount god level. Now, as long as her body and divine power allowed it, she would become a paramount god. She also had paramount god technique. Although her body was not strong enough to break through to the paramount god level, there was still hope for her to become a sovereign. Yi Qinghan's soul was at the sovereign level, and her body was definitely stronger than any other sovereign. As long as her godhood transformed, she would become a sovereign. However, to transform so many godhoods into sovereign godhoods at once would require countless godly medicines and resources. She could not do it right now, nor did she have the capital to do so. With so much divine power supporting her, there was still hope for one or two of her godhoods to become sovereign godhoods. Yi Qinghan's soul was still in the midst of her breakthrough. Her godly power gradually filled her various divine cores. Emperor Ye's physical body was also slowly strengthening. Once her soul was strong enough, she began to take the initiative to ascend to become a chief god. Her godly power roared as it began to transform, evolving from ordinary godly power to chief god's power. Gu. The dragon blood in Emperor Ye's body was almost boiling. His aura suppressed everything, and the aura of the paramount god became denser. Some powerful half-step sovereign-level beasts did not have high intelligence and wanted to resist, but their souls were directly crushed to death. Their bodies exploded, and their blood dyed the wilderness red. Zixin was still fine. Her bloodline was the paramount god bloodline, so she could withstand the divine might. However, Long Zai and Dong Qin could not do it. Long Quan, that little brat, could not do it either. Qin Yanfei's body had already begun to explode, and her face was distorted. Long Zai carried Qin Yanfei and Long Quan and began to retreat. Dong Qin carried Qin Yanfei and Long Quan and also retreated. They did not want to resist the paramount god's divine might. Zixin's eyes were like lightning as she stared at Emperor Yi. She needed to understand the paramount divinity. Now that Emperor Ye's realm was not that terrifying, it was the best time to comprehend it. Boom! The body of the Chaos Dragon that Emperor Yi had transformed into shook, and the stable upper space immediately collapsed. Boundless chaotic energy gushed into their bodies. With the support of the chaotic energy, Emperor Ye's divine power successfully evolved to Sovereign's power. He replaced it completely. The later absorption of divine power was also completely absorbed with Sovereign's power. There was no need to replace it. Yi Qinghan's godhead was also completely filled with divine power. I need to upgrade 2 godheads to Sovereign. I can't stay in the superior plane for long. There are no experts in the insane sect in the middle plane. If I disappear for too long, the 2 camps might not have much patience with the insane sect. Yi Qinghan gritted his teeth as he thought. However, to upgrade a half-step Sovereign's godhead to Sovereign's godhead, he would probably need a huge amount of resources. Sister Dongqin, please lend me the supreme-grade Chaos God Source. I'll definitely return it to you in the future. Yi Qinghan said in a low voice. I have 3 pieces of Chaos God Source here. 2 of them are supreme grade, and there's also a Lord-level divine herb. Take it and use it first. Dongqin was very generous. Staying alive was more important now. There were so many sovereigns, and she was not one. If she was captured by others, her life would be over. Even being captured as a slave would be considered a light punishment. Whoosh, Dongqin flicked her finger, and a universe ring flew toward Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan returned to his main body and grabbed it out of thin air. He opened the universe ring and found many treasures inside. The Chaos God Source contained extremely pure chaotic energy. It was the best divine item to provide power. It might even be better than divine herbs. Yi Qinghan did not stand on ceremony. He took all 3 pieces of Chaos God Source and focused on upgrading the spatial, time, and metal godhead. As for why he chose the time godhead, it was naturally because he had the time laws of nature boundary steel. He could comprehend the supreme mystery of time laws of nature, territory. After the spatial godhead was upgraded to Lord level, it would be easier to comprehend the profound mysteries of space laws. It was mainly prepared to deal with ghost Taoist flowing void. There would definitely be a great battle in the near future. These 3 godheads would be of great use. Emperor Yi successfully upgraded and returned to his main body. He sat cross-legged on the ground and adjusted his breathing. He was bathed in precious light and exuded a majestic aura. Yi Qinghan paid no attention to the outside world. He focused on absorbing the Chaos God Source's energy and forging the 3 godheads one by one. He wanted to upgrade them to the perfect state. The spatial godhead was slowly shattered, and under the support of the boundless primal chaos energy, it was reformed. The internal space became even more vast, even larger than the godhead of an average over-god. The patterns on the spatial godhead were clear, and its control over space had reached the microscopic level. It was extremely precise, and with a single sweep of his consciousness, he could travel through space. Not even the tiniest spatial ripples could escape his senses. A supreme-grade Chaos God Source in exchange for a Sovereign's Godhead was definitely worth it. Whoosh, the moment the spatial Sovereign's Godhead was formed, he actually disappeared from everyone's sight. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.